The Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, UITM, was formed in 1967. It is the pioneer hospitality faculty in Malaysia, which offers hospitality programs. Since then, we have produced more than 70,000 graduates. We offer undergraduates and postgraduate programs that covers hotel management, tourism management, food service management, food service management with entrepreneurship, culinary art and gastronomy, pastry arts. Located at the main campus in Puncak Alam, the faculty also runs its programs in 5 other branch campuses in Terengganu, Penang, Sarawak, Sabah, and Malacca. The faculty focus is in line with the nation's aspiration to produce professionals in the field of hospitality and tourism. Therefore, the main objective of the faculty is to increase the number of skilled and well-trained Bumiputera to fulfill the needs of the industry. In producing good quality graduates, we provide world-class facilities and conducive offline and online learning environment, designed and built to simulate the real industry experience of leading hospitality, tourism, and culinary establishment. We work hard to strengthen the industry collaboration and partnerships with employers to ensure students are equipped with the latest development of the industry. As a result, our graduates were highly demanded locally and internationally, fulfilling the needs of industry-ready and highly capable talent. With the tagline, committed to nurturing talent, passion and innovation, we aspire to give continuous commitment in producing quality graduates who will become the backbone of the tourism and hospitality industry in Malaysia. With aggressive networking, internationalization, branding and curriculum improvement, we promise to remain committed to making Malaysia as a must-visit destination in the world. The newest edition of the QS World University Rankings by Subject 2020 places the Faculty of the Hotel and Tourism Management in 31st position among the university institutions specialized in the area of hospitality and leisure management.
Anything. So, how was Turkey?
thought Turkey was...
Wow.
Yes.
It's been a period of reckoning. We all feel the changes. The distance we now have to keep. The new norms we now have to practice. Traveling in Thailand would not be the same. We still have a mask on when out and about. And also when diving down and greeting these underwater wonders, all renewed and thriving. Self-isolating can be done on a beach that's never been more beautiful. Washing hands thoroughly at a living creek as long as you wish. Social distancing at the top of the mountain will be more invigorating than ever. But then, nothing beats a human interaction at a real marketplace. Delicious and hygienic food delivery here is packed with friendship and big heartwarming smiles. Conference calls can now be made with a natural scenic background. No download needed. You can be a chef, a dancer, whoever you want to be. A lot of things might have changed, but traveling Thailand will still bring you the same happiness, or even more, because Thailand is now work from heart, renewing, restoring, taking care of ourselves. To welcome you back, the best we can. Amazing Thailand.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the International Online Tour Guide Forum. I am Elvin Gattu and delighted to be your MC today. Let me do some housekeeping before we start the forum. Kindly mute your mic. Please type your questions on the chat box. Be respectful throughout the forum. Feedback and e-certification form will be given at the end of the session. Thank you for your attention and cooperation. We will now begin. Honorable Dr. Firdausi Sufyan, Deputy Rector of Academic Affairs, University Technology Mara, Sabah Branch. Madam Silverina Annabel Kibat, Head of Academic Center, Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, University Technology Mara, Sabah Branch. Associate Professor Dr. Hashim Fadzil Arifin, Head of Academic Center, Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, University Technology Mara, Penang Branch. Assistant Professor Dr. N. Suwari Ashton, Associate Dean for Administration, National Institute of Development Administration, NIDA, Thailand. Associate Professor Dr. Lutfi Atay, Head of Travel Management and Guidance Department, Çanakkale Onski Smart University, Turkey. Tourism Faculty, Department of Travel Management and Tour Guidance, Terzioğlu Campus. Professors, Associate Professors, Doctors, Lecturers, Government Agencies, Tour Operators, Travel Agencies, Tour Associations, Tour Guide, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the International Online Tour Guide Forum. Salam sejahtera and good afternoon. This International Online Tour Guide Forum is jointly organized by the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, University Technology Mara Sabah Branch and Penang Branch, Malaysia, Graduate School of Tourism Management, National Institute Development Administration, NIDA, Thailand, and Department of Tourism Faculty, Çanakkale Onski Smart University, Turkey. This program is held in conjunction with the International Joint Conference on Hospitality and Tourism, year 2021. For your information, This program is now live streaming via Hot Tour UiTM Kota Kinabalu official Facebook page. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to officiate this event, it is an absolute honor to bring to the stage Dr. Firdausi Sufyan, Deputy Rector of Academic Affairs, University Technology Mara Sabah Branch, to deliver his speech. Please welcome. Dr. Firdausi.
Assalamualaikum, good afternoon, good morning, everyone, depending which time zone you are in. Distinguished guests, Dr. Anderson Lombong, Senior Lecturer, Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, University Technology, Penang. Associate Professor Dr. Luftiate, Head of Travel Management and Tour Guidance Department, Kanakale Onseki Smart University, and also a professional guide himself. Associate Professor Dr. Sinan Demir, lecturer at Kanakale Onseki Smart University, and also a professional guide. Associate Professor N. Suwaryashton from Thailand. Silverina Gimbat, Head of Faculty of Hotel Management and Tourism, University Technology, Sabah. Distinguished guests, panels, lecturers, participants from Turkey, Thailand, and Malaysia. Welcome to the International Tour Guide Forum with the conference theme, Road to Recovery, Learning Tour Guides, Endurance During the Pandemic. Now, ladies and gentlemen, firstly, I would like to extend my welcome to all panels. I think I can say this, maraba, is that hello in Turkish language, and sawatika, right? All panels and participants to this event, so welcome. I can see from the list of the panels, they are all very well versed with the subject of the conference and expert in the field. I'm sure there will be many valuable discussion will take place later with regard to tourism industry. I would also like to extend my deepest gratitude to the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, UiTM Sabah and Penang, Kanakale Onseki Smart University, and National Institute of Development Administration, Thailand, who jointly organized this event. And of course, provide a platform to discuss and share their thoughts on how should people in the tourism industry have to go through during and also after the pandemic. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, well, if you look at tourism, undeniably, nobody can deny the importance of tourism in the world. For decades, tourism sector is one of the engines of growth for service sector. Be it, in Thailand, in Turkey, you are looking at more than 1/3 of the service industry, even Malaysia, all right, dominated by tourism sector. Tourism sector has the capacity to pull the other industry associated with the supply chain, such as accommodation, aviation, logistics, IT, food, beverage, retail, and etc. Of course, the importance of tourism is not just dollar and cent, but this is a sector that closely tied to culture, history, nature, and civilization. Now, hence, tourism is a unique and a very powerful service sector in the world. Now, prior to the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that tourism sector is pretty much huge in the world and contributing to the GDP as well. Tourism sector accounted for 1 in 4 jobs across the world. and contribute 10.4% of the world GDP, which accounted for 9.2 trillion. So you're looking at three United States combined together. That's how big tourism sector is. Of course, after the pandemic-led crisis, I don't have to mention the statistic, right? We all know that tourism sector is badly hit by this crisis. The lockdown, traveling restriction has severely impacted not just tourism, but of course, the rest of the economy as well. Now, the world have gone through a few pandemic-led crises as far as I remember. The Black Death in 1300, Spanish flu in early 20th century, SARS, MERS in the middle of 21st century, and last year, of course, caught us by surprise, COVID-19. Nobody anticipated this event. This event will lead to what our current state of affairs. The world also underwent few economic crises as well, such as Great Depression in 1930s, commodity crisis in 1980s, the ASEAN financial crisis in 1997, Great Recession or associated with Eurozone debt crisis in 2000, and of course, this current crisis. But all these crises has adverse implication to countries, government, families, business, individual citizens. Some lost their job, some have lost their loved one, right? So it's very bad. But despite all this, some economists believe that this crisis will have a K curve, a flat U curve, an L curve. They can say whatever curve they want. But whatever outcome from the crisis, we in the university and also the experts, the business player, we should remember one thing. That is, we should never let any crisis go into waste. Meaning this is an opportunity for us to reset, restart, and creatively change how we do what we do, especially in tourism sector. So as you know, when we all enter the room just now, we can see how packaging information is so important. So creative content in tourism sector will become king next time. Creative content is king, because this is part of creative destruction, right? As the Scrum Peter framed it, it is an essential for any sector to grow. So I'm sure from this conference, fellow esteemed panelists will share their experience on how industry players shape tourism industry post COVID-19, new business norm, and etc. And I'm sure the panel will offer new valuable insight from the tourism industry, learning from the current pandemic. I'm pretty sure, because when I look at the list, you guys are all the experts. I can see that, right? So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to officially open the event, Road to Recovery, Learning Tour Guides, Endurance during the Pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Firdausi Sufyan, for giving a remarkable opening speech and officiating the International Online Tour Guide Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, videos foster the mindset that allow creativity to grow. So before we proceed to our main event today, let's first watch this video montage. I hope that you have enjoyed the video montage. The video montage exhibits the places of interest in 3 countries, which are Malaysia, Thailand, and Turkey. I bet all of us could not wait for the pandemic to end, to be able to travel to these countries. Let's hope for the best. Just a gentle reminder before we start, if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them in the chat box. It will be read by the moderators and answered by the panels during the Q&A sessions. Once again, a big welcome to everyone to the International Online Tour Guide Forum. We really hope that the session today will benefit all of us in many ways. Without further ado, allow me to introduce the amazing panels. Panels from Malaysia, Mr. Abdul Latif bin Abdul Majid, President Sabah Native Registered Tour Guide Associations, Mr. Bob Zakaria, Tour Guide and Adventure, Arachnid, Reptiles, Amphibian Specialist, Mr. Abdul Muttalib bin Ali, Tour Manager, Outbound, Cave Specialist, City and Nature Guide. Panels from Turkey, Associate Professor Dr. Lutfi Atay, Head of Travel Management and Guidance Department, Çanakkale 18 University and Professional Guide. Assistant Professor Dr. Sinan Gokdemir, Lecturer, Çanakkale 18 Smart, University Tourism Faculty and Professional Guide. Mr. Jihan Musterioglu, President of Çanakkale Regional Tourist Guide Association. Panel from Thailand, Assistant Professor Dr. Paitun Monpantong, Dean, Graduate School of Tourism, NIDA, and receiver of Outstanding Tourist Guide Award. Assistant Professor Dr. Kom Champiranon, Associate Dean, Thammasat University, Thailand. And Mr. Komsan Suwanarat, Chief of Operations, Smart Travel Bangkok, and award-winning tour guide. The moderators are Madam Siti Hajar binti Muhammad Shahar, Senior Lecturer, Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, University Technology Mara, Sabah Branch, and Dr. Anderson Ngelambong, Senior Lecturer, Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, University Technology Mara, Penang Branch. Madam Siti, Dr. Anderson, I'm going to pass the floor to you.
Thank you very much, Alvin, for that lovely introduction. Assalamualaikum and hello, everyone. Welcome again to the International Online Tour Guide Forum, A Road to Recovery. I am Siti Hajar, going live from Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, Malaysia. And with me is Dr. Anderson from University Technology Mara, Penang. Just a short note from me to inform you that this session is divided into 2 parts. The first part will be talking about the surviving of COVID-19, and the second part will be talking about the road to recovery. Just to remind you again, if you have any question pertaining to this session, please post your question in the chat box or on our FB. We will read your question during the Q&A at the end of each session. Yeah. Now, we have 9 distinctive panels. And what is intriguing about these panels is not that they come from different countries, but they are active tour guides, or used to be tour guides, at least at one point in their career path. Yeah, and their experience, they have vast experience in the field of guiding. Yeah. And they have been in this field for many, many years, and some have been in this field for 30 years. Yeah, and what is interesting is that most of them are award-winning tour guides. Yeah, and that includes also our panel professors, like Professor Dr. Paitun, Mr. Komsan, Mr. Sam, Mr. Latif, and a few others. Yeah, how amazing is that? I am very excited to be here. Since our panels are from 3 different countries, I'm going to start the paneling session now. I'm going to take this opportunity to learn about tour guiding. Now, my first question would be, what does it take to become a licensed tour guide in your country? Sorry, and I would like to focus this question on the processes of acquiring the license, and what kind of license do you have in terms of, maybe you have in terms of categories, yeah, and also training requirements, as well as governmental requirements and other relevant information that could help us understand as to how tour guides are being managed and organized in your country. And I would like to invite Dr. Lufti to start with this session.
Yeah. Merhaba from Turkey. Merhaba means hi in Turkish. Dear Deputy Rector of the Technology Mara University, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to say thanks to all the organization team, because this sort of international organization is not easy to put people together. I hope that's going to be a very productive meeting for all of us. With your permission, I like to introduce the guiding system in Turkey briefly in a given time. Actually, RC, I sent PowerPoint slides. Maybe you can reflect, you can put on the screen, so the participants can follow the topic easily. Because we are from different countries and we have different accents, so sometimes it will be difficult to follow the concept. Okay, so RC. Okay. Anyway, being tour guide in Turkey. I think Turkey is one of the countries with positive implementation for guides. The reason why we have very positive implementation for guides is the guidance vocational law. In 2012, in Turkey, the vocational law was enacted. So that's why I may say the rights of guides are protected quite well. And then it's well organized. And in Turkey, travel agencies and tour guides have vocational law. As far as I know, only 8 vocations have their vocational law, and 2 of them are from tourism industry. Tourism is very big business in Turkey. Maybe that's why we see this sort of good implementation. In Turkey, the tours organized by locals or international, no matter, should employ the licensed guides. That's compulsory. And the other compulsory, only the licensed guide can work actively. So no one without license can practice guiding business. They can face penalties. That's very important. Then we look at the requirements to have a guiding license. First, we see main requirements like you have to be Turkish citizen, not Turkish citizens. And then, of course, to take responsibility, you should be adults, age 18 or over, and then clear criminal record, because you represent the country, you have to be very clear. As long as you stay active tour guide, you have to keep clear criminal record. And then we have other qualifications to have guiding license. When I say qualifications, actually, I mean education, language qualification, and tour practice. According to law, vocational law, there are 2 options to be trained as tour guide. First is certification program organized by National Guide Association, but it's not active, it's never activated. And the second option is the university programs, the degrees at the guiding programs. Then we look at the university degrees in Turkey. We can categorize the programs in three different groups. First is 2 years college level. Second group is 4 years bachelor, and third group is graduate degree. When we look at the programs, actually there's no difference to get the license. They have all same right, but the issue actually when you get a degree from any level, you will have the same right, but of course there are some outcomes, some other outcomes, like if you finish the bachelor, you have different level, or if you finish the college, you have different level. The postgraduate education in Turkey are two types. The first group is a regular master's degree, focusing on academic survey and research. For example, at my department, we receive only students with degree from guiding department for the 2 years graduate degree. And also we have another graduate degree for guide candidates. That's 1 year, which is more sector focused program. We receive the candidates with bachelor degree from different department, but we elect particular department, not every bachelor degree. Next one. So more or less, when we look at the programs, they have some basic lectures. Of course, because of the lecture, the staff at the university, or because of the specific feature of the destination where the school is located, it varies from school to school, but the general lectures in the programs are basic management and economics, archaeology, art, history, mythology, geography, principles of guides, religions, travel business, and some other topics related to guides. So basically, at the schools, we are trying to train, or we are trying to actually educate in good way. Of course, like the other countries, you do your best at school. It doesn't mean they are going to be the best at. So after education, after diploma, we need another qualification. We need another step. So we have to prove the qualification in language. So you have to be good at any foreign language. In Turkey, every guide should speak one of the foreign language, at least one. It could be more than one. So there are two ways of proving language capability or proficiency. First, like TOEFL and other international language exam, we accept international ones. Also, we have state exam, and so you can pass one of the exam with the acceptable score. And second option for the guide candidates is to pass the exam, language exam organized by the National Guide Association. So if you pass, if you prove your qualification in language, so you get the second requirement, education first, language is the second, and then you need to practice. We have 7 geographical regions, and so to be national tour guide, you have to tour all the geographical regions. If you want to be regional or in 1 or 2 regions or more, you can choose. So you can be tour guide candidates should tour at least 1 geographical region, which is 7 days. So they can choose whatever they want to do. You can start as a regional, and then you can complete the other regions later on, and then it can be national tour guide finally. So all these tours are organized by the national guide associations and then guided by the experienced professional tour guide. So after we get university degree diploma, language qualification certificate, and then the document to prove practicing the tour, then we can apply for the main license. Actually, we have two licenses. I will explain in a minute. First license is the main license, like a diploma in Turkey. So, Minister of Culture and Tourism is the only authority to give the license, guiding license. So, as I mentioned before, you you apply with the ID card, crime report, guiding the diploma, language qualification certificate, and tour practicing document. So they look at your document, and then so they print your guiding license, and then so that's the first step to be tour guide. But it's not enough to work as a tour guide. After you get the license from Ministry of Tourism, you have to register one of the regional tour guide association based on your address, your residency. Then, after you complete your membership for the association, then you can apply for working license. Working license is the actual real license to practice guiding job. This working license is valid, yearly. It's valid for academic year. And if you want to carry on guiding for next year, you have to renew the working license. If you don't renew the working license, you have no permission to work in the next year. So you can choose being passive guide or active guide. So if you choose passive guide, you can, but if you stay passive guide for 8 years, and then you can lose your guiding license for you. So these are the process to be tour guide in Turkey. Basically, if I summarize, we have general guiding license, and then also we need specific working license. So the license, of course, like the other countries, we can categorize in different ways, like, you know, guide and hiking guides, diving guides, cultural tour guides, or, you know, gastronomy guides. These are theoretical things, but in Turkey, legally, according to Turkish law, we have two different types of guides. So basically, we can categorize the guides in two groups: national guides, who can guide any place in Turkey, and they can lead Turks traveling out of Turkey. But the regional guides can guide only in the region written on their license. Basically, wherever you tour in the training process, you can add later on, or let's say which regions are added in your license are the working field. You cannot practice guiding out of the regions written on your license. And same thing for the language. So you can choose one or more language. The guides can guide in Turkey, can guide in Turkish naturally, because Turkish native language. And then we can guide only in the languages written on the license. So if you ignore the rule, I mean, if you guide out of the region, if you guide in different languages, not written on the license, that means you face penalty. There are different, penalties. Actually, this is brief information, sort of warm up things. In Turkey, actually, we have 13 associations, actually regional associations based on the density of guides. Generally, these guide organizations, guide associations were set up in tourist destinations. One of them is Çanakkale, where we live. Jihan, the other member of this panel, is the head of Çanakkale Regional Guide Association. And as I mentioned before, every guide, according to residency, should register to the closest regional guide association. So guides elect the management board of the regional association, and then they elect the delegate for the national guide association. All the regional associations, 13 regional associations, also are the member of the National Tour Guide Association, and delegates from the regional associations elect the management board of the National Tour Guide Association. I got the numbers yesterday from the official website of the National Tour Guide Association of Turkey. Now we have 11,391 guides, national and regional. 2/3 of them are males, 1/3 of them is female. Basically, a male-dominated job. That's the picture we actually see. And nearly 8,500 guides are active. That means they have working license. So the others, roughly, I may say, 2,500 guides are passive. They don't want to practice. So in Turkey, guides speak 38 different languages. Then English, of course, is the leading language among the guides. Nearly 65% of the guides have guiding certificate in English, because English is international language, and so it's easy to find customers. Maybe I may explain in this way. The second common language is German, and third language, common language, is French, and Russian language is the maybe fourth, as far as I remember. And so guides speak 38 different languages. So all depending on the demand, of course. Turkey is very important tourist destination. Just I added one slide as the last slide. In 2019, Turkey was the 6th country receiving the most tourists. We received nearly 50 million tourists, and it's really serious business for Turkey and tourist income. We have very upscale tourism complex, and as we know, because of the pandemic, like the other countries, we suffered a lot. And if you move to the next slide, you can see the big change on the numbers of the visitors. We know in the world, the international arrivals declined very much. We lost more than 95%. And then now, in 2021, it seems very low, but we have very strong reserve summer holiday.
That's a strong number of tourist arrival, Dr. Lufti.
Yeah.
We want to save that number in the next question later on. Thank you very much for that brief introduction.
Thank you very much for listening. I hope I used the time in right.
Yes, you are within time. I would love also to look at Thailand. Dr. Patut, if you can respond on this, does Thailand share the same model?
Yeah, Sawadee. So good afternoon, everyone. So I think today the conference would benefit everyone, including the tourist guide in various countries. So let me share the situation in Thailand. Actually, me myself, I am the second generation of tourist guide in Thailand. Date back to year 1987. At that time, I got graduate graduated from bachelor degree from university. So I didn't know what to do. So I went to Phuket to apply a job as a tourist guide from then on. So you can see that at first, during my age, at that time, the tourist guide, they require only those who can speak languages, because the first wave of tourism in Thailand, we sell nature. So at that time, the tourist guide the people who would like to be a tourist guide, as long as they have language skill, they can communicate, they can be a tourist guide, So when I stepped into the tourism in 1987, at that time, there was no training course, there was no act relating to tourist guide. So I worked as a French-speaking tour guide at first, and later I work as a English and French-speaking later. But in year 1992, the first act relating to the tourist guide we call the Travel Agency Business and Tour Guide Act, is what enacted in 1992. Because at that time, in Thailand, we try to promote the culture and history as a value adding into the destination. So we need the tourist guide, not only language. We also need the tourist guide who have other skills, something like they have to get knowledge, information, and they should have a good attitude. That's why, that act was launched in 1992. So from time to time, the act was updated, and then regarding to the act, it is consisting of qualification of tourist guide, the regulations of being a tourist guide, and the penalty in that act, So in Thailand, for those who would like to be a tourist guide, it is very similar to Turkey. So they should be 18 years old at least, they have to be 18 years old first, and then this career as a tourist guide, it is conserved, it is protected for Thai nationality only. So other people from other country, if they don't hold Thai nationality, and they cannot be a tourist guide. If they act as a tourist guide, it is against my law. It is illegal. Right. So the third one, for those who would like to be a tourist guide on top of 18 years old and Thai nationality, they have two channels to be a tourist guide. The first one, they have to complete the bachelor degree. And that degree should consist of the curriculum containing the subjects required by the Commission of the Travel Agency, Business and Tour Guide. For example, they should in that curriculum they have to learn the tourist guide, the tourist behavior, tourism sustainability, service psychology, or something like this. So all those subjects have to be in the curriculum. So once they graduate, they can get a license as a tourist guide. But in case they don't go through that channel, they also have to pass the training course with the curriculum precast by the commission. So this training course can be organized by the university or the college, which has the tourism curriculum, So there are two channels to enter into the guiding career in Thailand, okay? So once we are talking about this act, the tourist guide can be categorized by law into three types. The first one is general tour guide. The second one is the regional tourist guide, and the last one is local tourist guide. But actually, for those who would like to be general tourist guide, means they can work both for Thai, domestic and international tourists throughout the country. So the people who would like to be general tour guide, they have to learn. If they don't graduate from bachelor degree, they have to pass the training course. So the training course will concern or will highlight or focus on the knowledge, skill, and attitude. So the detail or the subject in this curriculum will be broader comparing to other types of tourist guides. So they have to learn longer, and then the curriculum will consist of the theory and the practices, and they have to go to the field work, which means they have to go out to learn from the expert. They have to learn how to conduct the tour in the historical side. They have to learn how to conduct the tour in the natural side or something like this. So once the people who get the general tourist guide means they can conduct the tour for both Thai and international tourists throughout Thailand. So this one, it is widely known and it is very popular license in Thailand. The second one, it is regional tourist guide. Actually, people who hold this guide, they can conduct the tour for both Thai and international tourists, but they can conduct only in the region mentioned in the license. So this license, it is categorized into two sub-license, which means northern region, northeastern region, central region, and southern region. So this one, this type of tourist guide was was adjusted from the previous act, because in the previously we used specific tourist guide, but it is overlapping and it is very difficult to identify each type, so we changed from specific tourist guide to be the regional tourist guide, which means it is easier. So the people who hold the regional tourist guide, they have to learn more specifically in the area they work. For example, the tourist guide who hold the regional tourist guide in southern part of Thailand, they have to learn more in terms of natural resources. They have to learn more how to conduct the tour in the water. They have to learn more in terms of water-related activity or something like this. So this is also very popular for those who like to work in the region in particular. So the third one is local tourist guide. This one, it is new. Actually, it is not very popular, but it is people who have this license. We call the local tourist guide license. They also can conduct the tour for Thai and international tourists in a specific area, something like they can work in the community-based destination, or they can work as a tourist guide for the event, special event, or they can work in the geographic attraction or something like this. So for the time being, this license was launched only in the community, in certain community-based tourism, like in Phuket, in certain area in Phuket, this one, the purpose of this license is they would like to protect the right for those who like to work as a tourist guide in the area of the community. For example, if you are the person in the community-based tourism, they would like to protect the people in the community to work by themselves or something like this. So in Thailand right now, according to the act, the tourist guide can be identified into 3 categories, But if we look at the number of the tourist guide for the time being, regarding to the statistic of the Department of Tourism in Thailand, we have almost 70,000 registered tourist guides. It is not big amount of money. It is not a big amount of number of the tourist guide in Thailand comparing to the other labor in other sector. If you look at the food and beverage in Thailand, there are almost million labor force. If you are looking at the transportation or logistic industry, it is like almost 200,000. So to the tourist guide, there are a small portion comparing to the small proportion comparing to other tourism sector. So that's why you can see that for the time being, if we look at the tourist guide, we require the tourist guide to have more competency. For example, they have to conduct the tour in the cultural attractions, because as you know that we are now coming to the next wave, which means we have to create the experience, we have to design experience. So the tourist guide, they should have skills, they should have the ability to design experience, they should have potential in creating some kind of very unique or customized experience for the people. So you can see that we also have the association or the agents relevant to the tourist guide. The first one, I have to say that in Thailand, we have Professional Guide Association, which is the major organization or association which play a role as a spokesperson for the career. Right. So this one, actually, we also have this association in most of major tourist attractions like Bangkok, Surat Thani, Phuket, Phang Nga, Krabi, or even Chiang Mai. So they play a role as as I told you, that as a spokesperson, as a center of the career of the tourist guide. Apart from that, we also have, it is in Thailand right now. I was appointed to be the committee in doing this, because we are now going to do the Thailand Federation of Tourist Guide Professionals. But it's still in the building process. We try to make it possible. I hope that it will be done very soon. So if the Thailand Federation of Tourist Guide Professional is done, there'll be the tourist guide career will be stronger. So they will have louder voice when they would like to do something. And then the situation in Thailand, once we are talking about the situation of tourist guide in Thailand, I can say that most of the tourist guide, they are freelance. They are not under the company. So the problem is they have no salary at all, you see. So they get the job allowance, job by job, and that's why, the most of the travel agency or the tour company, they try to avoid a big amount of expense, for example. So they don't need to pay salary. You see, they don't need to pay social security fund or the workman compensation fund or something like this. So most of the tourist guide, they are freelance. So what happened, it is very serious when they confront the COVID-19 crisis. All of them, I can say that 100% of the tourist guide in Thailand are unemployed.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So
yes,
these
and we are going to talk about that in a real short moment. I'm just going to give Mr. Latif to explain about Malaysian. From Malaysian context, we share the same model with regard to tour guide training. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Latif, obviously Thailand and Turkey has a slightly different model. What about Malaysia? I don't hear Mr. Latif.
The microphone is off. I think you should on.
I think, yeah, somebody should.
Hello.
Hi,
Selamat
Mr.
petang
Latif.
semua.
Selamat petang. Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Are you okay?
Okay.
Okay, I was just saying this one.
So actually for Malaysia, they have a similarity with Thailand and Italy also, or Turkey. Yeah. So, but in Malaysia, the tourist guide license is issued by a Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. So for you to get a license, you must have a minimum requirement, a qualification, which is you must have a Malaysian certificate of education. You must have 6 passes. But if you don't have any qualification, so they have a way also for you to get your license, where you must have a experience in a tourism. Either you work with a travel agent for 5 years, yeah, and then where you can take a course, yeah, from the ILP, I mean the Institute for Tourism, yeah. So normally in Malaysia we have a 4, I can say it's a 4 type of license, yeah, which is the first one is we call it a blue badge. Actually it's a city guide badge, yeah, city guide, where this license, we call it a blue badge because it's a blue color, where this license before, where we can guide throughout Malaysia, yeah, throughout Malaysia, but now they only can be used in Peninsular Malaysia, yeah. Since when Sabah and Sarawak implement another license, yeah, I will talk about that license later, and then where they don't use the license already in Sabah and Sarawak, yeah. And then The second license is a local nature guide. Yeah, they call it a LNG or green badge because of the color is green. So before this license, before in Sabah, where a lot of people, I talk about Sabah, yeah, because in Sabah before we use this license all over the place, yeah. So, but nowadays this license in Sabah they still have, but not much. Yeah, I believe in Sarawak also is not much, and then in Peninsula, yeah, also it's not much. Yeah, because they only on a specific area where you can do a guiding. Yeah, for this license. Yeah, and then for in Sabah for this nature guide for this green badge. In Sabah, we only can use this license. You can guide in 4 area only. Yeah, not other area. Like the first one will be a Danum Valley Conservation Area. And then the second will be a Tabin Wildlife Reserve. And then third will be Maleo Basin Conservation Area. And then the fourth one will be in Long Pasir. Yeah. So other places in Kota Kinabalu in the city area, you can use this license. Yeah. And I believe in Sarawak also same. It's only on a designated area like Bako or in Bario and Bakalalans. Yeah, and then in Peninsular Malaysia, the nature guides you only can use in Taman Negara. Yeah, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, okay. And we have another license. Yeah, they call it this. But this license is only used in Langkawi, yeah, where they call it a composite license, yeah, which is this a combination of green badge and blue badge, city and nature guide, yeah. So if you look at the license, it will be they have 2 colors, yeah, a blue and green, yeah. So but it's only you can only use that license in Langkawi. Yeah, maybe you are a bit wondering why they have 2 colors. Yeah, because Langkawi, the area of Langkawi, where we can say they have a city and they have a nature places. So it's a combination of the license. Yeah, and then that is a third one, and then the fourth one will be. But this license is only for Sabah and Sarawak. Yeah, they call it the Regional Specific Tourist Guide. Yeah, which is this license is I can say is same concept actually with this Langkawi, which is combination of blue badge and green badge. Yeah, so I can tell a bit of story why this license, yeah, is implement because of if you ever come to Kota Kinabalu, yeah, from the city center, 10 minutes, you're already in the nature place. Yeah. So if you do guiding, it's only small area of the city. Yeah, because the city area is only, I can say it's about 7 kilometers. Yeah, the city area, and it's already a nature place. Yeah. So this license, region specific tourist guide, yeah, license, you can guide all over Sabah, yeah, and then but not to Sarawak, yeah. Before we can guide to Sarawak when we still holding a blue badge, yeah. But nowadays, no more. Sarawak they have their own license. I mean, like they have their RHTG, yeah, which is the numbers will start with Q. For Sabah, will start with S, yeah. So,
Mr. Latif, would you mind telling us basically? I see that there are so many licenses and they are divided into several regions.
Yeah.
What kind of training that you all have to go through in order to acquire this license? Because it seems that if you have blue badge, you can basically go anywhere restricted to certain places, I believe. And then if you were to advance yourself into the region or regional license, then you have to undergo, you know, a new training for that? Perhaps you can elaborate on that.
Okay, actually for our regional specific tourist guide, the courses will be about 6-month courses, yeah, where we learn about city, nature, yeah, histories and everything, yeah. And then for actually the difference with this blue badge, actually blue badge, they are more to a city area, yeah, city, building, history, and so on, yeah. So but for us, they are more to a nature area, yeah, river, jungle, mountains, caves, yeah. And then
so you have to actually go for different training for that. And
the modules, the notes will be a bit different than this blue badge, but green badge is the same. They are more than a green badge. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, because to get this course for RHTG will be a 6-month, but to get this green badge about 3 weeks only. But they are more to our nature places. Yeah. And then that's information. And then they have another license. Yeah, but it's newly implemented by the governments, where they call it but this one is only for a specific area. Yeah, they call it this local community host. Yeah, so it's only in a certain area to help these local people. Yeah,
something like Thailand is doing, is it?
Yeah. I can say like so far in Malaysia, it's only Selangor started with this local community host. Yeah, so far in Sabah still don't have. Yeah, but in the future, I believe yes. Yeah, and then beside that, actually they have another license which is issued by a state government. Okay, so for Sabah we have another license. They call it a wildlife guide. Yeah, wildlife guide issued by the wildlife department, but they only can guide in the sanctuary area. Okay, so not other places. And then I believe Sarawak also they have, yeah, a guide which is license issued by this state government, where it's a Sarawak forestry park guide. Yeah, which is the only on a certain area. Yeah, I believe it will be they can guide in the national park, wildlife center, and nature reserve area. Yeah, so
I think
believe that is from me.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we have a picture of how the organization of tour guiding is done basically, and I see that there are similarities between Malaysia and Thailand. Yeah, pretty interesting. Perhaps a little bit of difference in the model, but I see that the governance is basically the same. Yeah, it all comes under some authority under the ministry maybe of tourism and culture. Yeah. Thank you so much, panels. I'm going to actually move to a different tone now, different area. We are going to move to talk about the surviving COVID-19, as what Dr. Paitun was saying just now about how negatively this is being impacted on the tour guides, especially those that are freelance. And most people say, before COVID-19, people were saying that tour guides actually make good money. Correct me if I'm wrong. Through your fees and through commissions and allowances that you get. And it is one of a profession that actually offers flexibility in working hours. And I think people would agree with me on that. Now come COVID-19 and the worst of all about COVID-19 pandemic is that our borders are closed. And then on top of that, the enforcement of MCO, Movement Control Order, and it's obviously the impact of this pandemic on tour guides, yeah, specifically on tour guides. Tour operators, travel agents are also impacted the same way, but we are looking specifically on tour guides. Can you share with us how severe was the impact of COVID-19 on tour guiding professions in your country? Perhaps if there is any studies done pertaining to the severity of this pandemic on the profession, we would appreciate if you could share. Dr. Sinan?
Yes.
Dr. Sinan, would you like to respond on that?
Of course. First, hello to everyone. Deputy Rector of University of Technology Mara, Dr. Firdevsi Sufyan, and distinguished academic members, guides, travel agencies, and guests. First, I would like to thank Dr. Anderson and forum team to give us this opportunity to introduce about to talk about the travel and tourist guides. The effect, when we talk about the effect of the COVID-19, of course, the negative impact of COVID-19 disease on tourist guides in Turkey has been enormous. As we know, the disease emerged in China at December 2019 and spread rapidly around the world. Many countries first resumed flights in a controlled manner, and then they closed the flights completely. The absence of traveling people primarily affected tourism sector, and then parallel to that, it affected the tourist guides as well. Also, Turkish tourist guides affected from the infection on the negative way. So when we look at in Turkey, as Dr. Lutfi explains, tourist guides can work in domestic and international ways. And at the beginning, the domestic flights are first controlled, then canceled. For example, after the virus started to spread in the world, Turkey started to close the borders or flights from and to the Far East countries at 13th of March 2020. Then flights from Europe and stopped on March 17 in 2020. Then also a little bit later, when the infection started to spread in the country, in the borders, also 11th of April, Turkey stopped the intercity travel in Turkey. We have 81 provinces, and it was banned to travel from one city to other city. So as you can imagine, the visit of the tourists, I mean domestic tourists and international tourists, are stopped. So because of that, the tourist guides lost their, let's say, job. They couldn't get any job, so they couldn't gain any economical income. So also, if we look at the numbers, according to official records, in 2019, there were 36.5 million tourists, foreign tourists, visited Turkey. But when we look at after the COVID-19, when we look at the numbers of the visitors, foreign visitors in to Turkey, was 16 million. And if we look first 4 months of foreign visitors to Turkey, right now it is about 800,000 people. So when you imagine this, the Turkish tourist guides lost their income. So with the effect of COVID-19, the guides were able to take, at the beginning of the COVID-19, 1 or 2 tours in a month. So when you look, as you say before, the tourist guides are normally getting a good salary, but we don't need to forget the tourist guides were working in season. It's a seasonal job. For
Yeah.
example, in Turkey, from March till September, tourist guides can work approximately 20 days in a month. But when you calculate it in 12 months, let's say their rentals, their school expenses, their information getting sources, payments, or when you calculate all, and also the food and the others, the tourists, when you divide that 6 months into 12 months, their income comes to the half. So because of that, if the tourist guides were saving monies previous to COVID-19, they had money for 7 and 8 months to spend. But after 7 and 8 months, the COVID-19 started, they had difficulties in economic way. Thus, some guys try to work different industries, which means loss of guides as number for the guides association. So let me clear at the end, let me clear the effect of COVID-19 to Turkish travel industry. According to Tursap records, which stands for Turkey Travel Agencies Association, in their report, which declared at the end of last year, which is 2020, the 80% of travel agencies experienced the turnover loss of more than 70%, and the employment loss was about more than 75%, and the loss of hotel occupancy rate was around 70%. So we can totally, at the end, we can say the COVID-19 affected tourist guides and tourism sector enormously in negative way in Turkey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jihan. Mr. Komsan. Mr. Komsan? Mr. Komsan is not here. Is he here? Okay, great.
All right.
Komsan, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we have seen that Turkey has tabled the severity of COVID-19 pandemic on their tourism sector, especially on tour guides. Yeah. What about Thailand? Tell us about Thailand.
I can say that it is really a shock. It's really a big shock that I think for all the countries, not just Thailand. Let's say in 2 years ago, there was around 40 million tourists, foreign tourists visiting Thailand. So that's where our main job, that some people have been working just a guiding career for life. So, once the thing or the crisis happened, you don't know what it's going to do and how long it's going to happen. So, as Dr. Paitun said, there are 70,000 up to 8,000 licensed tour guide. Majority are, of course, English speaking. And let's say in terms of number of tourists, 1/3 or around nearly 10 million, or around 1/3, let's say around 10 million something, because the number are tourists from Chinese. So at the moment, it's totally locked down, as you know that, right? So I think, let's say nearly 100% unemployed.
Nearly 100%?
Nearly 100% unemployed. There is no tour at all. Even the government tried to launch different program, domestic travel, it's come up a little bit, that people still travel. But since the number of a few phase of crisis, now I think the second or the third, now it's the worst as what I see. So what are the tour guide doing at the moment? They change the job to survive. Many of them go home. Let's say that main destinations or main tourist section in Thailand is, of course, Bangkok, Phuket, Chiang Mai, Pattaya, and Koh Samui as well, you know.
Yeah,
And
Koh Samui.
they're working in Bangkok. Even they're working in Bangkok, it doesn't mean that they do not stations only in Bangkok, but they still travel that we call overland travel, and over around north, around south, just mean that travel around to Chiang Mai too. So that a few days, 10 days or whatever, 12 days. And some of them even lead the tour as a tour leader to other neighboring countries. They're all gone. So even domestic is came up a little bit, but later now is the third phase in Thailand. So it can say that it's all gone. Nearly all gone. Even they try to, you know, the expats that living in Thailand, the number of foreigners still living here, those working at home here, they still travel, but very little. To last week, it just went to part of Phuket. It's really quiet.
Oh, that's truly shocking. Almost 100% has lost their jobs, and right now looking for other alternatives or doing other alternatives.
Yeah, what they're doing at the moment, some of them, of course, open shop, selling online goods, and let's say the tourism, the Tourist Guide Association of Thailand try hard to help them by contacting the malls or markets.
Okay. Mr. Komsan, hold that thought, because we have a question for that, and we want that insight from you. Yes. Just give me a moment here.
Okay.
Mr. Latif, would you kindly respond to the question just now? I would love to hear about the severity of the impact of COVID-19 on our tour guide profession. Thank you, Mr. Komsan. It's actually raining heavily here in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. I hope our internet line is not going to be a problem. Mr. Latif? Or maybe Mr. Bob?
Hi.
Hi. Oh, there you are.
Yeah. All right. On that, how severe?
Yes. As I was saying, yeah, it is negative. It is bad. But how severe? Do we have the numbers for that?
Yeah, it's a lot of people would say it's doomsday. Yeah, it's doomsday. People were laughing when I said, "What are you doing?" I'm in the tourism industry, and they were laughing.
Oh.
Yeah, they were laughing. You know, hospitality. They were laughing. They know we are being hit very hard. I was still working on the first quarter of 2020. Yeah, that's January, February, March. Yeah, I was still working, and then after that, when it hit, that's when it hit. That was the month that all tour guides were looking for those months, because that would be the peak season of over here in Sarawak.
Yes.
That's when you have in April. That's when you have that Halloween. You have that Easter holidays. Europeans that would come to Sarawak. Yeah, and then they were like, all of a sudden there was none. Yeah, and then people were hit. You know, and there's nothing much they can do. There was no tourists at all. You want to have tourists, but the government said no, nobody can fly in. So what more can you do? Worse than that, even a lot of places were closed. Yeah, many destinations are closed to visitors. So there's nothing much. Yes, there are domestic tourists, locals. Let's say we're talking about, when I'm talking about Sarawak, okay, you can't get anyone else apart from Sarawakians. So Sarawakians will go out. Yeah, when they go out, but they will not be using any tour guides at all. Yeah, so that's how bad it was, in such a way that there's just nothing that you can do. I mean, people were waiting for that peak season and then hoping that when it comes, that's when you'd have that kind of income that would sustain you for 1 year or something like that. So when you talk about our guides in Malaysia, we have in-house guides. Yeah, these will be guys working with the travel companies. Yeah, yes, yeah, they get hit, but they would still have that income from the company. Yeah, a basic pay from the company, which they still get. And then you have freelance guides. Now, freelance guides are the one that's badly hit. Yeah, because they don't rely on anything. Yeah, they rely on all these things. And then when they get hit, they have nowhere else to go. That's when they start to rely on a lot of things. And yes, they are struggling. Even now, they're struggling. Okay. And then, but there are some lucky ones. Yes, they are freelance, but they have a part-time job.
Okay. We'll cover that in a moment, Mr. Bob. So it's about 70% to 100% loss of jobs. That's severe. And loss in income, loss in economy is also added to it. Yeah. I have another question that I would like to post here. Now, with the declining number of tourist arrivals into our country, into countries in Malaysia. Basically, we were looking at 83.4% decline, with no tourists. What are the options and sacrifices that tour guides had to take to ensure the survival, sustainability, livelihood? And was the transition to doing other jobs is convenient or easy? Maybe Mr. Bob, you can start it off.
As a tourist guide, we are trained in many different parts. A tourist guide can work. They can adapt to hospital. Going to hotel lines. Yeah, they already have that skill. Tour guides are people person. Yeah, people friendly. Yeah, anything on that, on that front line, that kind of thing, tour guides will be able to do that. Again, through the training that they had, they can actually utilize that, and tour guides can actually adapt, to a lot of things, because through the trainings of what they had, on how to improvise, many guides, especially the ones in Sarawak here, they started cooking. They started cooking, and then they were selling food. They were selling the food. They were cooking at home, and this was actually the kind of training they had. The kind of things that we do here in Sarawak, because when we take people out in the wilderness, we have to cook. So that skill, it works for them. Of course, look, the easy way out, some of them will go for Grab. The Grab service, they're so used to doing all that traveling. Some would be in the construction companies. So the lucky ones, those who are in the village, they say they're quite all right, because they say they will be tending to their farm. So they tend to the farm. So there's a lot of things, and then the more enterprising ones, they start to collect. They go to all the farmlands. Go to the farmers, and then they'll tell the farmers, since the farmers can't sell the farm produce, what they'll do is that they'll do the collection. They'll set a price, pay the farmers, and then this is where they earn a living from it. So they will be sending vegetables to anybody that orders from them online. So yes, it is difficult. It is difficult, but as usual, tour guides will survive. Tour guides will survive because tour guides have been trained. They have been trained in a lot of worst case scenarios. What happened when you are on a tour? These kind of silly things happen. What will be your best decision? So they will decide. They will decide to make sure. But of course, we want tourism back. We want tourism back. Our skills are there. Some people were telling me, I have not been guiding for a year or more. I do not know whether that I can still talk to visitors or not.
Do you miss it?
So but then again, I do believe, tour guides, we are people who love our profession.
Okay, let's get an input from other panels. Mr. Chihan from Turkey, do you agree with that?
Yes, of course.
Hi.
Hi, greetings from Çanakkale. Merhaba.
Thanks.
I'm very proud to be with you here. Thank you.
Same here. Tell me about it. Tell me about how tour guides in Turkey actually adapt to this situation. What kind of sacrifice do you all have to make in order to ensure your survival and also a sustainable livelihood? Was the transition easy? Was it easy for you guys to go from being a tour guide into something else? And it was done rather, immediately. You have to do something immediately, otherwise you won't be able to have food on the table and so forth. Come on, give me something here.
Yes, like everybody, we have shocked last year. in our country, the pandemic started to show its effects in February last year. The total service sector in Turkey creates employment by about 40%, and tourism revenues are very important for our country. 1 year has passed, but tourism is still not the same as before. Domestic tourism has started to move up a little, but it's not strong enough. I think we need some more time. Also, what we did for tourist guides, if I ask this question, what we did for tourist guides, we negotiated with the government, with the mayors also, and ensured that the vaccination studies were given priority. The most important thing, the vaccination studies were given priority. And also we requested grant support by meeting with the government. We tried to create small financial resources for tourist guides also. We tried to create some small financial resources for tourist guides. We distributed food parcels. We have our members, if they had some health problems, for example, we tried to help them pay the bills, invoice, etc. like this. And also government gave loans between, and the government gave us some loans between 400 and 1,400 US dollars to each tourist guide, which they need, between 400 and 1,400 US dollars, for example. And also tourist guides received loans between this amount, but the government didn't give any grant support. They just gave loans only. Is all this enough? No, we must do more for everyone.
What kind? I'm just curious here. What more?
All the tourist guys, as all the world, they need help, for example. Just 400 or 1,000 US dollars doesn't enough for someone. They want to be sure from their future. They don't want to be worried for their future. They have families, they have children also. Everybody is worried. How many years can we go on this pandemic? Everybody wants to be sure this year is the last year of pandemic.
Is it easy for tour guides in Turkey to find other jobs?
Yeah, some of them using their skills as language. For example, they are giving some lessons to the students online.
Okay.
And for example, if they can speak Japanese, for example, we have some friends giving courses online, Japanese courses, and French courses, German courses, English courses like this. Some of them has passed to international companies, and they are using their skills in their language also. But some of them is trying to find job again. So it's not quite easy to find any job in small cities. Maybe in Istanbul, like a metropole, in Izmir, Ankara, big cities, you can find easily another job. But in small cities, if you are living in small city, it can be hard to find any other job easily.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shihan. Mr. Komsan. Mr. Komsan?
Okay, so can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes,
Mr.
Komsan. We were talking about how was it easy to change from his current job as a tour guide into something else? What are the sacrifices that you all have to do to ensure that survival and sustainability of livelihood is well?
Okay, now is the internet come back. So can you hear me again? Can you hear me? Sorry. No? Problem with internet, I think. Hear me?
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Sorry.
Okay, if you speak loud enough, I think we can hear you.
Okay, so you can hear now? Sorry.
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you. So just now, let's keep going again that majority of tour guides are working in Bangkok, so many of them return home, which the cost of living is lower. So let's go back home. Those who still have farm, they go back, work with the farm with their parents. A number of them try to change the job. Let's say we all have been working as a guide for 20 or 30 years. So to do new thing it's not easy. One example is a number of my friends change to work in the, let's say open restaurant, then that's not really successful. So let's go to taxi driver. He said, oh, it's too hard and the income is not that good. And then what they call that insurance, selling insurance. So that they keep changing. Many people, like become vendors. Selling whatever things that they can do, just do it first to make sure they survive. However, let's go back to the Tourist Guide Association of Thailand. They also try to help. As at the moment, they contact different malls in order to guide to go and sell whatever things that they have they want to sell. So that's what they are doing. But however, a number of them, let's say that those 50, 60 years old guys, some of them may leave job permanently. I'm quite sure that I heard a lot about this. How about me? I'm quite lucky that I have other skill, let's say training skill, communication skill. I took a number of courses and also have knowledge of tourism in different issues, so that's I do still have training job for communities, for future tourist guide or forever. So
True. It still depend on the skills that you have. Other than tour guiding, you need other sets of skills as well. And in this condition, you can't just you just need to have, if you, let's say that if you're good in cooking, so you're going to use that talent and try to do something about it and make sure that you are able to use it to find income out of it, right? Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Komsan. To the panels, I'm sure that you all, do you agree to say that the tour guiding skills are transferable? We can use those skills and those knowledge in other fields as well. As what Mr. Bob just said just now, you are trained as service providers, so you are able to, to work in hotels and so on. The courses that the tour guide goes through, they are basically quite a number, and the exposure that they get in the courses would include perhaps a little bit on marketing, a little bit on geography, and so on. Do you think that these tour guiding skills are transferable skills that can help them in securing other jobs, either as permanently or as part-time? How would you respond on that? Dr. Sinan?
Hello again. So, as you say, tourist guides tourist guides as a person, they need to have a lot of skills, like organization skills, language skills, good manners, and also they need to have especially organization skills. So with this, let's say with this skills, tourist guides can do a couple of other jobs. They can adopt themselves to other jobs, such as my tourist in Turkey, all of the tourists has to know one of the foreign language, and because of knowing language, they have rights. Let's say rights to teach foreign language such as German, Japan, French, Italian, and so on to the kids, to school kids. And some of them are giving, because of the pandemic situation, some of them are giving online lessons to the students. But if we are talking about the guiding skills and about the teaching in English, but if we can, if there is no opportunity to teach in English or in another language to the students, also some of the guys were doing their families' jobs. Some of them were helping their families in the agriculture, in animal husbandry, or some of them were helping their families on, let's say, driving or fishing. Tourist guides in Turkey, we can talk about the language, plus some of the tourist guides, if they had connections before the COVID-19, they could go organization companies, and they can work in the organization group. As you know, the most important thing tourist guides in their profession is organizing the trip. So from the starting point, timing, given the information, hours of the ancient to be well organized.
All right. Thank you.
And also, when you think a country like Turkey.
Okay, we're having a technical problem here. Dr. Sinan seems to be unable to connect. All right, let's move on. Thank you so much. Dr. Sinan? Dr. Sinan?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost you just now, actually.
Sorry, I think because of the internet connection,
yeah,
I had also a couple of difficulties while the other panels were speaking.
All right,
but
it's
let
okay.
me clarify let me clarify like this. The most important thing for the tourist guides is the organization skills. As I said, they need to be well organized. The Turkey is a big country, and to be able to visit two ancient sites, which has 300 kilometers in between two, you need to be on time. So because of that skill, most of the some of the tourist guides who had connections before the COVID-19, they got connection with the organization companies, and they did organization of the different things like school organizations, big company organizations, sport organizations. So these are the some, let's say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, let's move on to talking about the association and how the association of tour guides in particular. What are the roles at this point? What are the roles of the association in assisting our tour guides, particularly in coping with the stress due to the loss of jobs and depleting resources? And do you think that initiative and assistance provided by the government responding to improve tourism helps? Can I have Mr. Chihan to respond on that?
Yes, of course. As I said, I can repeat again shortly, very shortly. For example, we talked with our governor and mayor for some grant support, just 400, 500 US dollars, just at once time the government paid to the tourist guides also. And we are trying to help them as food parcels. If they need, if they are very hard to position, we are trying to give them some support as association. If they have some health problems, for example, we are assisting them to the hospital and etc. But some of them, tourist guides, we lost to the COVID-19, for example. They lost their lives. These days is very hard days also. And also total sectors is service sector is in Turkey about 40%. It's a huge ratio in Turkey. It's very hard for governor to support everybody. When we talk to the mayors and governors, always they have told us that 40% is very huge ratio. We can't help everybody easily. We can't help everybody very quickly. So people should help to the other one. For example, some people is still working in the factory or in the government. Also, they earn their money without any loss. So they should give to the tourist guys as a borrow like this. People should support the other one. The governor and the mayor always said that like this. And also, we are still talking with the governors and the mayors for can take some loans or the grant support like this. It's not easy. It's not easy, but we are trying to do the best one for everyone.
The assistance does help at some point, but not wholly, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Can I have a response from Dr. Kong with regard to the initiative and the assistance provided by the government in responding to improved tourism?
Hello.
Dr. Kong is an expert in crisis management.
Okay. First of all, can I quickly share my screen?
Oh yeah. Hang on. We have to.
Okay, then don't worry. I'll just talk about it. Okay. Okay. So first of all, I would like to support other panels. You know that I agree the impact of COVID-19 on tour guide. You know, I have some numbers that have just been published the other day. In Thailand, it shows that in major cities in Thailand, the tour guide revenue has been declined by almost 60%. And this is the same across the board. Transportation, souvenirs, business, accommodation, food and beverage. Everyone have already been affected, right? So, in terms of you asked about the government support, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there are a few precautions. There's a few steps that have already been taken. So if you look at the kind of like crisis management model. There's many models, but if you put it very simple, like the pre-crisis, crisis period, and post-crisis, right? Now, during the pre-crisis, when we started to see the trends of the COVID-19 outbreak around the end of, toward the end of 2019, we already, take precautions on, in terms of tourist arrival to Thailand. And during the crisis period, the government we try to communicate to stakeholders, the people, to take care of themselves, wearing masks and so on. But fortunately, in Thailand and I think in Asia, we have a very high adoption rate of, wearing masks, and people like self-quarantine and, work from home, things like that. So it works well, but in the long term, the kind of the work from home or the social distancing really hurt the business, especially tourism and tour guides. So, so right now we have been through almost, I think we're having a third wave of COVID-19 now, so we still see the rise in terms of, COVID cases in Thailand, although it's mainly domestic, but we're still very much concerned. But at the same time, we have tourism business like tour guides that they're suffering, from the impact. So we're trying to have kind of like a goal that, okay, we try to open the country in 120 days, and we try to open one part of the country first, and we call it a sandbox, So a sandbox is a little bit like, it's more like a startup term, like technology term that, for example, when Bitcoin first started, some companies, they don't want to go ahead and start using it. They want to experiment and see how it works. If there's something wrong, then that can stop the problem easily, right? Because it happened to the small part of the company. At the same time, Thailand, and I'm sure that other speakers might talk about it as well. we are going to implement what's called the Phuket sandbox. And Phuket is a beautiful island in Thailand, in the southern part. And because it is an island, we try to, say, okay, we are going to experiment starting from Phuket, because we can, control things easily. Usually when international travelers come to Thailand, they have to be quarantined like 14 days. And that's too long. Let's be honest, that's too long. Even though you are already fully vaccinated, you still have to be quarantined, and it costs a lot of money. Of course, if travelers have money, they can go to what's called alternative state quarantine, or ASQ, where they can stay in 5-star hotel. But for a lot of travelers like backpack or family or budget, they might not have enough budget. So the Phuket sandbox is that we are going to allow those who are already fully vaccinated to come to Phuket, right? To stay. But with the conditions, of course, that, they have to, I don't know, maybe download applications, keep us updated, and so on. And at the same time, the local residents also need to be they need to be vaccinated, and have to also take extra precautions, So we're starting to see Phuket Island as the sandbox or example. And if it's successful, then we'll implement to other islands and maybe eventually for the whole country. So we would say it's kind of like a starting point that the government try to open up our borders. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, that is interesting. I think the strategy could be applied in anywhere, in Malaysia as well as in Turkey. Yeah, let's try and see first in small scale whether this might work. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Kong. That was very, very good. Can I have either Mr. Latif or Mr. Bob to respond to that? We have very limited time right now. We are going to go for a break in a moment. And before that, we're going to read some questions posted by our participants. Mr. Latif or Mr. Bob, if you are there. Or Mr. Sam, if you are there. From Malaysia. I'm not so sure whether the line is good or not. I think the connection is not that good. It's really raining heavily right here, and or maybe in 3 minutes, Dr. Lufti, if you want to give some input on this.
Thank you very much. Actually, what I observe in different countries from the researchers. The guiding job is very high skill, great job. Guides have, a good income when they work and they socialize in very good ambience and so on. I think it's very difficult to move to other jobs for guides, especially for the skilled guides. And I think what I may say, this pandemic process is a good lesson for guides, and then we learn to look for an alternative, job. Not really, giving up the job, because guiding job is seasonal, and so the guides with secondary, interest or job didn't, suffer very much. So the ones without any alternatives were hurt very much more than the others. That's what I like to point it out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lufti. That's good insight. I'm going to read a question actually posted here. This is from for panels from Turkey. The question says it's from Ankana Yayong. She didn't state where she's from, but she said, she asked, as tour guide cannot speak other languages, but to stick with the language that he or she apply for license only, then how the tourists will know whether that guide speak the right language according to their license? Because in Thailand, before, we do have license separately for Thai customers and foreigners, but now have only one license in terms of language for Thais and foreign tourists. Can you respond on that?
Yeah. Basically, it's very simple in my country. On duty, the guides should display the guiding license. It should be visible during the tour, and we have two different colors of guiding license for regional one, for national one. Actually, in this case, tourists are supposed to look at the language written on the license. As long as tourists and tour guide agree on different language, different than the language written on the license, it looks like it's okay. But the problem, as long as at the control points, if the inspectors don't come across, like the other, like driving car without license, okay?
Yeah,
So
when you use authorities.
It can work, but legally, the responsibility is on the guide side. Guides should respect the rule, so they have to guide only on the license, and then they cannot guide in the other languages.
I see. And the penalty is severe if you were to not follow what the license said, isn't it?
There are different penalties depending on how many times you are checked, catching that way, depending on the repeating. So finally, if you repeat this sort of habits, finally you face to lose your license.
Okay, license will be revoked. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Lutfi. For Thailand panel, the question says, from the same person, how about students who study in the university? Like in Thailand, we will take 3.5 to 4 years to graduate. Then do we need to take any other test in order to get tour guiding license? May I have Patun?
Yes, according to the new act, which has been adapted, even if they graduated from university in terms of tourism or whatever, but the new act, they ask everybody to pass the test, because to make sure that they reach the qualification of being a tourist guide, So before those who graduated from university in terms of tourism business or whatever, they can get a license automatically. But the new act, they ask everybody to pass the test, because they would like to make sure that the quality of all of the students reach the standard of being a tourist guide. So mostly I found that most of them, they pass the examination.
I see. Okay, there you go. And this is to anyone, she said. How is tourism course syllabus in university? What we should include mostly to the course related to tour guiding in order to prepare them well to be a professional guide in the future. She was talking about what are other courses that should be included in the syllabus so that we produce competent and also a professional guide.
I think the tourist guide in the new era, especially after COVID or after the technology disruption, the tourist guide, they also need to adapt themselves, adjust themselves, because I think the first qualification is, the guide should have skills in order to create some kind of experience. I mean, as experience design should be very important for the tourist guide, because you can see that right now most of the tourists, they are more individual in terms of traveling. They are coming with the families, so they are not coming with the group like before. So sometimes, they don't like the ready-made tour program, but they would like to personalize or customize their tour program. So I think the tourist guide should have the skills in order to create or design the experience for the people. The second one, I think technology and innovation should be another skills for the tourist guide for the time being. I mean, the tourist guide in the future, they cannot rely, sorry, they cannot rely on tourist guide purely, because it's, for the time being, there are less number of tourists who use the travel agency, who use a tourist guide because there are some kind of technology assisting them for convenience and comfort when traveling. So if the tourist guide, they should have other other job in a role. So actually the tourist guide, they also have the good foundation in terms of storytelling, tourism interpretation. So if they have technology skills, they can be the travel bloggers, travel influencer or something like this. So they can get other revenue, not only from the tourist guide, they also can work in other kind of career, to get more income. And yeah, this I think it is very important.
Oh, thank you very much. Any other response for that? Dr. Sinan, maybe? Thank you, Dr. Patun.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so as far as I got, the question was, which other courses can tourist guides take? Is that right, or am I wrong?
Yes, what are the courses that should be incorporated in the syllabus for the university, in the university?
I mean, at the beginning, Dr. Lutfi put some lessons that required by Turkish authorities. Plus, for me, I think the first aid for all of the tourist guides, first aid course should be taken, because in the groups, any of the tourists can get any accident or anything like high fever and so on. So first aid should be taken by the tourist guides, and plus drama, I think, drama lesson, which which gives you to explain the topics in good manner and in good way. So these two can be added for my opinion.
Some artistic skill should be incorporated. I see.
Yeah.
Mr. Sam, do you have any comment on that?
Okay, you want me to add for university or for the tour guide course itself?
The question actually comes from a university student, so she was asking about that.
For tourist guide, right? Okay,
yes.
For now in Malaysia, we are not doing tourist guide course at university. It's only done at ILP or Institute Latihan Perindustrian, which is mainly for skill certifications under Malaysia certificate skill certifications. So we have a tour guide courses for this, covers 11 modules. So from the modules, we also cover how to do the commentary, sport commentary, running commentaries, and different type of scenarios, role play, all this. And we also have interpretive guide, descriptive guide, and different type of guides.
Okay.
Okay.
I think the question was about, for...
Yes, I understand the question. To add some new modules for tour guide course, which is very relevant for this moment, we need digital knowledge and internet marketing. So most of all the new tour guides or existing tour guides, they need to adapt to the changes. They must learn how to implement digital and online marketing skills into their business. Because after post-COVID, we are not going to depend on travel agent anymore because we are not very sure.
Thank you so much. I like that idea, but I'm going to continue. We are going to talk about that very, very soon after the second, in the second session. You just hold that thought, okay? Now, thank you so much, Sam. We are going to go for a break for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back again. We are going to meet together again for session 2.
would fly to somewhere far from here, through the crowds and through the hills of my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky, to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky, to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. You're still in my heart.
Welcome back, everyone. We will now proceed with our second session, but before that, I would like to thank our participants for the questions. And we have another Q&A session at the end of this session as well. Please do post your question on our chat box, yeah? Now, the third session, we are going to focus now on the road to recovery. I would like to take all of us away just for a while, you know, to talk about something that is very close to tourism, actually. I think everybody now, it's European Cup match. It's a fever right now. And I'm sure that everybody is glued onto the television, watching their match, watching their favorite team playing on television. Now, I would like you to draw your attention. This is what I saw on television previously, a match between Portugal and France that was in Budapest, Hungary. And if you realize, and if you look at the stadium, there are full of spectators, no mask, no social distancing, no bubbles, and the stadium is basically packed. Yeah. I was wondering, is that what an immune cluster looks like? Is that what we are going to get once we get vaccinated? So my question is, are you excited about vaccination and what vaccination means for travel industry in your country? Can we have Dr. Paitun to answer?
So once again, first of all, I think vaccine is very significant. No, it is one of the key driver to reopen tourism in our country. If you look at the many countries such as America, USA, they also, the vaccine has been spreading out, and then it's created a kind of group immunity. So the tourism is back. I mean, the tourists can travel to USA or whatever, So we also can see that many countries, they also use the destination as a place for vaccination. So they attract a lot of big number of people to go for vaccine, But as you know, that the vaccine will be one of the key factors to attract the people to go to the destination. As Dr. Kom said, in Thailand, we also going to open Phuket Sandbox, which will be initiated in July the 1st, because in Phuket right now, more than 70% of people over there, they were fully vaccinated, so they can open both for both international tourist arrival and the domestic market, But in my point of view, the vaccine only cannot be strong enough to attract the people to visit to the destination, even if it can create some kind of group immunity. But in my point of view, after the COVID or at the moment, the number of the tourists is like cake, the cake is smaller. Before, there were big number of demand, big number of tourists coming to our destination. So it is very easy to do whatever because we have plenty of the tourists. But after the COVID, what the destination need to do apart from vaccine, they need to create trust. I think trust is also very important. So when you look at the trust, you need to create trust for the tourists, which means every touch point. If we look at the customer journey, every touch point you have to create some kind of confidence, safety. Even if the information it should be reliable. This is very easy to travel. They should provide some kind of technology, innovation to create trust for the people. So every touch point, not only at the airport, the hotel, the restaurant or whatever, it should create trust to make sure that when people travel to your destination, it is safe, it is hygiene or whatever. So the first one, vaccine can create trust, but it is not only vaccine, but it should be coming with technology, innovation or something like this. The second one, apart from vaccine, I think value, it is very important. The destination should create some kind of value through the marketing communication. I mean, right now, people feel like it is safe to stay home. So we need to generate value for money, value for time, or value for effort in order to drag people from home to travel to the destination. So I think the destination should create value through doing some things in making sure that when people come to the destination, they pay whatever, they get higher value from the money than the money that they pay. The third one, I think, experience should be very important. The destination have to design experience. I mean, they have to make sure that once people come to the destination, they have a good experience. Now, from the human touch, from the tourist attractions or whatever. So sometimes they have to create some kind of cultural value as a value adding for the destination, not only the nature. And then the last one, I think it is very important. The differentiation should be very important. Once you do something the same like before COVID, nobody want to come to your destination. So you need to make your destination different from other destinations. So it is worth to visit or something like this. So how to make differentiation means you have to design your tourism products to be, and you add the innovation, add creativity to make it differentiate from others. And then if you look at Thailand, once we promote the destination. Right now we have CHA. CHA, it is a kind of campaign initiated by Tourism Authority of Thailand. It is called Amazing Thailand Safety Health Administration. So they ask every business sector, not only the hotel, the tour operator, the restaurant, spa, whatever, to join this campaign in order to use as a guideline to make sure that once people come to their place, it is safe. And then we call the CHA plus. Plus mean the staff or the people, especially the frontline staff, they should have vaccinated. They should have vaccinated. So this is the readiness for the destination to attract people to come. But in my point of view, once we are talking about the vaccine, I have to identify the vaccine into two types. The first one is the vaccine to protect from COVID, But the other vaccine, it is also very important. It is the vaccine for business, for competitiveness. After the COVID, the people should not do something like before, because the everything is changed. It's going to be something new. So the tourism business sector, they have to concern that from now on, they should not do copy and paste. They should not do something cheap, to sell to the people. But the most important thing is they have to create some kind of value. The value is very important. Once you create value, you put everything, you put the creativity, you put innovation, you put experience to make more value. So this one will make the business more competitive. And then you can see that after COVID, a few months later, the business cannot survive. So we have to give the vaccine for the business and the labor to have competitiveness. So I think this thing, it can help them to survive in a long-term period, in my point of view.
No, thank you so much, Dr. Paitun. Those points are really, really excellent. Dr. Lufti, if you can add on.
Thanks. When we say vaccine, actually vaccine means for us life and hope and recovery. We can summarize like this, but I think if we just focus on destination safety, we can make a big mistake. We have to learn from the pandemic, and I think the format is changing. Now the tourism system is between market and destination, so matching is very important. Now, for example, Turkey initiated a safe tourism campaign, and we gave priority and we injected vaccine all the workers in tourism industry, including guides, to give good image, to attract tourists. But I think we forget the other side first. So also the market will be vaccinated. Right now, only in the developed countries have a vaccinated rate over 35, 40. But then we look at the developing countries or undeveloped countries, we can see very low ratio. So if we spread the vaccination ratio in the society, I think we create more safe and reliable tourism. The format is changing. Right now, pandemic process started with COVID-19, but I'm sure we can face other pandemics in future. So that's why we have to learn, and we have to get some lessons, and we have to put some, sort of roads. We have to set up the road for the possible pandemic in future. That means right now we have to pay high attention for hygiene. for social distance, and of course, technology. Right now, I see more and more smart applications. So we see smart application in each part of tourism industry, like restaurants, hotels, and so on. We minimize contact or touch. So we do, wireless service. We do untouched things, and so it's very important in future. And it opened a way for guides because of being so friendly with technology, and so we use more and more technology, and most guides became technology friendly person, and it opened some options for future. In Turkey, because of the legislation, only travel agencies with license can organize tours. So guides can work for travel agencies, or they can just do data tours as a free license, independently. So the law is different in different countries. They have different applications. I'm sure now guides can have more and more chance to get direct business from the customers, and they can charge more. But also the vaccination itself, it's important, but so there's a big discussion right now. I follow the media, for example, like your case in Budapest or other stadiums, maybe in Hungary, the vaccination rate over 45%, I think, but still there's a risk. Yeah, that's there's we observe the risk, and vaccination is important, vital. It gives life and hope, but we still or we should respect the other rules. What I'm trying to say, social distance, mask, and then hygiene. I think so. We have to keep the tourism industry for future.
I see.
I think we were desperate. Actually, we were hurt very much because of being in desperate mood. So we maybe we hope something, but also we have to be very careful for any possible risk in future. So vaccine is just one of the tools, not the way to be normal. Thank you.
So we agree that vaccine alone is not enough. We need more than that, basically. Okay, let's hear from Mr. Bob. Mr. Bob, any comment?
Yeah, well, vaccine, as what Dr. Lutfi have said, and also Dr. Paitun, it means life. It's like almost everything it is. For example, in Sarawak, we hope to achieve, by August, at least 80 to 90% of Sarawakians to be vaccinated by then. But then again, we'll have to wait what the government will do about it, whether we will open our borders or not. For tourism, it's all the government thing that I have to think of. But as a tour guide, yes, this was one of the few things that you said frontliners should be vaccinated first, so that when tourism comes back, we're ready to work. Yeah, we were there. But we believe we need to do a lot of things. People need to be confident that when they come to Sarawak, they're safe. People that they meet, places that they go to, it's safe for them to go. They don't need to worry about getting infected or whatever that is. Then if that happen, over here we are ready. Like we might not be doing the normal kind of like 40 in a group anymore. Possibly after like this pandemic, there will be a lot more private tours.
More exclusive,
more exclusive. People, I do believe that people out there, yes, they will come, they'll travel with their own families. Okay, they'll have a tour guide. Then we'll have to start thinking that, it will be a lot of exclusive tours. We'll be taking you to places where there's no internet, where you do not see any other tourists. That kind of thing is a selling point for us over here. Then we have to avoid all those crowded places for them. I mean, that's the risk. There's a lot of things that need to be done. There's also the effect of whether we should touch them or not. Whether we should be touching the restaurants that we check them. Could there be anything like maybe the government might come up with something, like COVID-free or COVID-certified kind of restaurant, cafe? Yeah, we don't know. So all these new things might come up later. Like as tour guides, we just need to adapt, get used to it, and hopefully, well, we never know. This thing we might have to live with this, but it might disappear. We don't know. So yes, vaccine is a must. It is very good. It is after the vaccination, after the immunity that we have, how are we going to handle our programs? How are we going to handle our tours? Every countries, every destinations have their own unique selling points. So ours is like, we are different. With Latif, we always say we are Bonians, but we are the same, but yet we are different. So this is thing about us over here. So vaccine is good. There will be things that we need to get used to after the vaccine.
Yes, I think this is truly in line with what Dr. Paitun and also Dr. Lufti was saying, is that vaccine is good, yes, but we need other measures actually, and we need to follow them, and there should be trust. As put it by Dr. Paitun, everybody has to play their role. Everybody has to believe in that. You have to believe in living hygienically. You have to believe in giving the correct information. I think that is the point here. Now, I'm going to move on to the next question. This is something I think I would like to Mr. Sam actually to respond to this, because he was actually talking about this. Thank you so much, Mr. Bob. How do you feel about digitalization in tourism? We know that one of the efforts of in Malaysia, especially by the government, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, one of the initiatives that they actually put forward is actually to provide platform for tour guides to be trained in digitalization. And I'm sure that you all have heard about virtual tours. How do you feel about it?
Okay, let us look back at the evolutions in tour guiding itself. Long time ago, from physical tour guide, then we start to have audio handheld guide, which was recorded tour with the roadmap, everything. For example, we did have this at Penang Spice Garden, with all the herbal plants and spices, and everything was numbered, number 1, number 2, number 3. So the tourists will just carry a handheld device with the earphone and press the number. And then they can hear the explanations and information about the plants, spices or herbs, whatever. They can go on their own, or they can choose to hire a tour guide to assist them. Then slowly improve to cell phone guided tour. So almost same thing, but just improvisation on that. When tourists reach a certain place, they just have to call the number given to them, and then they can hear the information. After that, we have smartphone, which is more advanced with GPS, roadmap, everything, and the audio guides. So tourists just carry it with a good internet connections. Move around, they can do their just roam on their own. And now, since the pandemic hit earlier, since March last year, everything has been moved. Tour guides start to think how to bring the travel experience to the tourists. Instead of, we used to have tourists go around carrying the smartphone, everything, enjoy the tour by themselves, listen to the informations. And now tour guides are thinking how to bring all this travel experience to the comfort at their home. So the things has, government also start to look at this thing. Last year when it was first started, nobody have real idea or the exact idea how to do it. So some people just start to do live streaming, they start to do FB Live, some upload their content into the YouTube, and there were a lot of arguments. It was not supposed to be done that way. So what's the difference by watching a documentary, National Geographic, Discovery Channel? Why should people pay for it? Then slowly improvise to the virtual reality tour, where we can add more sensors. Because tourism itself, the basic definition is when people move from one place to another place for various reasons. If there's no movement of people, tourism will not happen. So slowly people start to bring the start to improvise it and make it as using 360 camera and add more virtual reality things into the as a content to give more sensors. But all this actually just to give a glimpse of the travel experience as a teaser. We cannot do a full tour just online.
True.
It will not happen. So our government government said last year, December 2020, Prime Minister had announced the national policy for Malaysia development for 10 years plan, 2020 to 2030. So one of it is to bring back Malaysia as a top mine ecotourism destinations in the world. So following by this, Ministry of Tourism and Culture also had introduced AR and augmented reality tour and virtual reality tour. And they are allocate about 55 million for tourism players to start to digitalize their business and all this. But there's a question aroused from that, because Ministry of Tourism of Malaysia and a lot of people in tourism industry, they are looking at the end game, not in the process. So the best part was early this week when I read news from Selangor State Government under SIDEC, Selangor Information Development and E-commerce. So they came up with a plan to digitalize most of the business to digital and helping them by providing all the training programs. This is include tour guide, which is very good. So for tour guide, they have to adapt to the changes. It's like same thing like when Airbnb came into the market, hotel business gone, partly or 80%. When Grab came in, taxi business was wiped out. So we are the last one waiting. So either we adapt to the changes or not. So all those senior tour guides, they have a lot of skills and very good knowledge. And the trend of new tour guide since about 5 years ago, we have more graduate from universities, like from UITM itself. They have hospitality and tourism students. They learn about tour guiding, they graduate, and then they took the tour guide courses, get their badge, and they became a tour guide. But this group of people, they came with a lot of knowledge with IT background. But in terms of experience and knowledge of the tourism itself, or tour guiding, this is where we can make use of the senior tour guide and the newcomers. Newcomers, they are very good in IT. But for senior tour guide, a lot of them, like, for example, 40 years and above. Since last year, they are really worried what are they going to do next, because they've been in tour guiding line for more than 20 years, 30 years. Suddenly when COVID hit, they lost. They don't know what to do. When us other colleagues or tour guide association, they just simply say go and learn new thing, upskill or reskill. For this age group of people, 40 and above, as a tour guide, they are not to say they do not know anything about internet, but yet digital is not their cup of tea.
Yeah.
So this is where we need all these youngsters who knows about TikTok, about Instagram, Facebook, all this. Okay, we put it together with the senior tour guide and make use of them for the content and put it in the market. There are many platforms in the market for this. So ATIM, if you heard about ATIM, ATIM is the association for all tour guide training center in Malaysia. So they just start to draft out new modules for this to teach existing tour guide and new tour guides with the digital syllabus.
I see.
So how to create FB page, how to make content, how to do the video recordings, and which platform to choose, and how to market themselves out
Yes,
there.
you just have to change and adapt to the situation. And digitalization is basically the word, the thing that moves forward, right?
It's just a way to the new norm.
True.
We have to adapt to it.
True. Let's see what Mr. Komsan from Thailand has to say about this. Thank you so much, Mr. Sam. Good insight. Mr. Komsan? Mr. Komsan is not here?
Yeah, I think he on and off. I just called him. He said he in. Let me check.
Oh, it's okay. I'll get Mr. Jihan to respond to this first. Thank you so much, Dr. N.
Yes, hi again. So I can give some information about the digitalization. Tourist guides in Turkey work in two ways. One of them is to cooperate with the travel agencies and take part in tour organized by travel agencies. The second is to work with the tourist by making a direct contract with the tourists. In both, they were either recruited through referrals and through the profiles on the association page. Some guys were able to get jobs with the profile they opened in some social media platforms. During the pandemic, they were mostly getting jobs indirectly. With the pandemic, direct employment has increased even more, and it has started to spread rapidly among the guys. Some guys focused on their websites. Some guys have opened blog pages in their forums. In this process, most importantly, they discovered and became a member of social media platforms such as Get Your Guide, Via Tour, Airbnb, TripAdvisor, like this. These are platforms which provides a market between guides and tourists. So some guys started to make virtual tours through these social media platforms. However, the number of guys who can do virtual tours is quite low when they considered in general. And also the government didn't promote digitization, but during the pandemic, online trips became a trend while everyone was at home. Every day, many programs were made on Instagram or YouTube, for example. Online education programs such as online trips have become extremely popular also. These experiences created a new model for everyone. I expect a return to past after the pandemic, but digitalization will take more place in our life as a new product.
I see. Thank you so much, Mr. Jihan. I think we are in the same boat here. We agree with that. Mr. Komsan, is he here?
Can I add in some idea? Actually, okay.
Can
I share my idea? Actually, in my point of view, technology and innovation is very important for tourism for the time being, especially after COVID, because a lot of people, they will expect to have like cashless payment or whatever, it should get involved in tourist journey, But in my point of view, technology actually is important, but it should be like foundation to provide comfort and convenience for the people. But on top of that, I think the human touch, high touch is also very important. So once, the world is going to be like globalization, and or the other way around, people also, when they travel, they also want to touch something very emotionally. So if the destination can use technology at the appropriate level to provide comfort and convenience, and on top of that, we put the human touch, to be like emotional value for the people. And I strongly believe that emotional value will generate something different, and it will attract people to come and to come back, So if we can create a model by mixing together, technology, like high tech, and then we also use the human as a high touch and blend it up, it's going to be a very good model to attract people, and we are different from others. And me, in my point of view, the tourist guide and travel agency, they have to adjust also. If you look at the previous time, most of the travel agency, they try to sell something very simply, like temple, going to the palace or something like this. So this tour program will not happen. I mean, we cannot sell it. It's not longer marketable anymore, because people, the tourists, they can do it by themselves, and it's much cheaper. So this is a new way of we have to rethink that. If the travel agency and tourist guide need to survive, they have to think deeper than that. So they have to create a tour program that the tourists cannot do by themselves, that the tourists cannot find something easy. So you have to put something more complicated. You have to put the culture or something like this. And this topic, Mr. Komsan can share with you, because he is the model doing this kind of experience for the people, and that he can survive in the business. So P. Komsan can share this kind of thing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, Actually, Dr. Paitun have talked a lot about what I'm planning to talk. However, as a tour guide, we still need human contact. It really needs. In the future, that the size of the group tour becomes smaller, more private group, more FIT people instead of mass tourism or a main destination. So people will try to avoid the mass. People will try to avoid the crowded place. So culture, let's see, I myself, I have done street food tour. I'm very first person in Thailand, I can say that. It's more than 15 or nearly 20 years that I do really very niche that people dare not do. So actually this is a chance for a tourist guide that, the tourist guide is the one who travel and meet the people, meet the real culture directly. So if in the future, actually it's the law in Thailand, is allowed the guide to open their own, is a chance, because normally registration fee is quite high, but now at the moment, the fee is very much lower. So it's a chance for the guide. You can open your own company and then do your own way instead of follow the, I say format program, which this one copy from another one. But since after COVID, let's say if chance open, what they have seen, culture that in the exciting way, it's not the mundane culture. Make in the lively way. And sometimes, let's say a tour operator, travel agent, they do not go to the destination directly, but sometimes when in the program that we do for them, on both sides, there are a lot of things niche, which can bring it up to make it important, make it, let's say culture. Let me tell you a bit about the creative tourism. Creative tourism is we participate in doing things. So it means that we unreal the culture. So unreal or unfold the culture. Let the tourists fold it back. It might be 100% correctly. So this is the role of tour guide. So doing something new in the future. So this COVID for 1-2 years, let's say 2 years, I don't want to be more than that. Let's say it lasts for 2 years.
Agree.
So it lasts for 2 years. So under these 2 years, use the experience of thinking of something new, which the travel agent could not follow up. Many companies, I can say that they write the program from Google, which is in a practical, it's not really that true. So it's hard time for a tourist. Let's say I do my floating market. I think you have heard about Thailand floating market. Of course, everyone visiting there. But for me and myself, before reaching the floating market, I don't want them to get shocked with thousands of people standing and yelling, whatever things. But I dropped the driver dropped me in another village nearby, which is just 0.5 kilometers. They say way of life. They say people paddle boat slowly. So until come up to the main market. And in terms of, let's say, virtual tour again, the role of the tour, the guide is It's hard. I mean, what hard means they have to use their communication skill to attract more, make place more attractive. It's not narrator, not documentary. It's documentary they can see from what? Any documentary program. So how to use the voice, this is important, how to use the voice, tone of voice to make the things, small thing, but make it important. So this is make it lively. Instead of virtual from that documentary that they can see. So the road guy have to work, the guy have to work harder in terms of presentation. Yeah.
Thank
you so much. We are lacking on time right now. Is that Mr. Sam?
Yeah, just add the quick one.
Okay, 1 minute.
Yeah, quick one. Okay, in tourism, maybe we can say all of every people in tourism, they know well that in tourism, actually, we are selling dreams and experience. So now there's a high chance for us to sell dreams by using digital platform. So when everything calm down, COVIDs are gone, people coming back for tour, then we sell experience. That's it.
Okay, I do understand what you mean. We need both basically. Human touch, nothing can replace human touch. In service, I always believe that, you know, nothing can replace human. And we need technology at the same time to diversify. So yes, we need both basically. Thank you so much, Mr. Sam. All right, I'm going to go down to another question here. This is going to be a little bit in a different tone, actually. We're looking at crisis management here. And I would like Dr. Kom, if you could respond to this question. What is the current government policy response on improving crisis management? And this is related to reopening our borders, our international borders. Thank you so much. Dr. Kom?
Actually, I have already mentioned that a little bit as well about, hang on, let me open my slide. So yeah, I have mentioned earlier about the government trying to reduce the impact from the crisis. Actually, I have to say that, you know, many countries, including Thailand, we have been through many crises, you know, like natural disaster, you know, like tsunami or flood. We've been through some of the flu outbreak, you know, like SARS and COVID-19, you know. So while each crisis is very different, I can say that the tourism industry, the tour guide industry in Thailand is really resilient, and they bounce back every time. And I'm sure this time they will bounce back as well. I just have to spend some time. So yeah, so I mentioned about the government try to open up the country, you know, so they have a timeline. So in the very first time in, I don't know, a year or two, they announced about 120 days opening up. Secondly, I mentioned about the Phuket sandbox, you know. Thirdly, a lot of other speakers also mentioned about technology, you know. So I agree with everyone that, you know, we should use technology as a supplement to, you know, to increase the customer, to improve the customer experience. So so there are also other ways that the government have been trying to do as well, you know. So in the past, actually even before COVID-19, they have been supporting a lot of tourism startups and tourism platform like Airbnb, you know, like and many other platforms that try to help to spread the tourists to secondary cities. You know, in Thailand, we have, you know, a lot of tourists mainly go to major cities like Bangkok, Pattaya, you know, Phuket, Chiang Mai, but we also try to get more tourists to the secondary cities, you know, and so we are trying to, the government have been working a lot with some, you know, local communities with startup company, because, you know, those startup company platform, I can name a few of them. Like one of them is called Local Alike, you know, so local and then ALIKE, you know, so Local Alike is a platform that they match between local community or even tour guides, you know, with international tourists, you know. So because sometimes when tourists book the travel through tour operator, for example, like 5 days, 4 nights, they might want to have like 1 day that they have like a local tour, so things like that, tourists can contact, those startup company like local alike, and another one is called Take Me Tour, so these are the two companies that the government talk a lot, because these are some of the examples that help the local communities to have more tourists, because otherwise people are gonna continue to go to the main cities, and the reason is because although Thailand tried to improve our infrastructure, but we do not yet have like a high-speed train or like a sky train to every city, so it's mainly in the city center. So how do we get tourists to go to the secondary city or local community? So we're working with a lot of tourism startup. And what's very interesting thing is that yes, the government is aware that to be a tour guide you need to have a license, but they also have been experimenting, like Sandbox as well. By they might say, okay, we want this community to try to use this platform. So if you live in that community, and for example, if you're good at cooking or bike riding, or wellness, spiritual tourism, you can become a tour guide as well. You can sign up on the platform and you can say, okay, I'm willing to take a tourist for a one-day tour. This is how much it's going to cost. This is going to be included. So anyone could become a tour guide. But of course, the government is testing with some small community first, try to see how it goes. And then eventually they might try to, broaden to other part of Thailand as well. So I thought that a lot of panelists already mentioned about the government support. So this is some of the things that they have been doing since before COVID-19, but the trends kind of, we see a lot of trends that has been accelerate during COVID-19, trends like cashless payment, it's already been started before COVID-19, but the COVID-19 actually speed up these trends, so like cashless payment, local travel, social enterprise platform, that kind of thing. So COVID-19 accelerate those trends. And so with the support from the government, it can help a lot of local communities that right now they don't really have international tourists. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kom. Can I have an input about this from Dr. Sinan?
Of course. Do we have time for 1 or 2 minutes? Because also the digitalization caught me. I totally agree with Dr. Paitun and Mr. Komsam because human touch is too important. But when we are talking about after COVID and with the normalization, yes, human touch is too important. But when the borders are closed and when the governments don't let their citizens to go other countries, or government doesn't let the foreigners in the country, I think we need to think on, let's say, transforming the guiding business into the digital platform. So I'm agree with you. We should, the guiding business is too important with human touch. But during during the COVID-19, or if any other possible, let's say, further diseases, we can use, let's say, online guiding service, which could be, let's say, on the online platforms. Regarding the question that you asked about the last one, as all the other countries, our government, Turkish government, requires the official test report or vaccination card at the border of the country. Plus, if a tourist gets infected in Turkey, the Turkish government also provides a 14 days quarantine, which is free of charge. So if you come to Turkey as a tourist and if you get infected, Turkish government give you 14 days quarantine without paying anything. So the safety and trust very important in this stage. Plus, if you prefer to Turkey and if you came to Turkey, also which another let's say protection policy have taken by Ministry of Culture and Tourism in Turkey at June 2020, which says how tourist guides will manage the groups. So, and how they are going to apply the rules during the tour. So there are a couple of protection policies. Let me give some of them. For example, tourist guides must comply with the social distance rule and use medical masks during the tour. And also another one, tourist guides should not leave the tourists during the tour. They should accompany them throughout the tour. Another one, it should be ensured that the people in the group should use masks and disinfectants. The other one, guides and tourists should not use gloves, since improper use of the gloves will spread the virus. And another one, when visiting the museums and ruins with a group, tourist guides should always use a headset, and they never shout towards the group without the headset. The tourist guides should make an appointment for the ruins and the museums before they visit the ancient sites and the museums. So these are the, let's say, terms which are applied by tourist guides, which have taken by Ministry of Culture on behalf of the Turkish government. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sinan. Can I get an insight from Mr. Bob here, if he's here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
This one is the lesson learned, yeah, about on.
Oh, we're not here on the lesson learned yet. We are still talking about our government policy. How did our government respond in terms of, you know, the policies that they have imposed on, and trying to, you know, improve on our crisis management. I know that you know, there are a lot of talks about how our government actually deal with COVID-19, especially, you know, in tourism. Please.
Yes. Okay. In light of what was done before this, yeah, when we first had this, there were a lot of SOPs. Yeah, standard operation procedures that was given out to everybody, to tour guides, to all people in the tourism industry. So we have to follow these SOPs per se. They have to do all the scanning. Masks have to be on at all times on the tour buses. Yeah, if the tour buses have 40 seats, you can only use it only 20 can go in. No physical touch. Yeah. All that thing. And then when you're meant to go on a tour, everything has to be conducted on the bus. Yeah, and when they want to come down from to see all the sites, it has to be very quick. Yeah, all information delivered on the bus. As you get down from the bus, you just walk them, point, they take photo, and back you are. Yeah, you're back on the bus again. So somehow or other, when that happened, yes, we tried that. We tried it for our domestic market. Especially in Sarawak, we have this Siasito where we invite Sarawakians to come out and see all these places. But somehow or other, it was stopped because the cases increases. Yeah, so all that you know, all that precautions that we took, putting on masks, sanitizing your hands, going up and down the buses. Okay, the cases keep increasing up there, and then and then it has to be stopped. Yeah, so we can't do that kind of thing anymore. Again, it goes back to that vaccine. Yeah, so now we hope it can be better. But well, how comfortable would people be, right? Walking around in mask on a tour. You are on a holiday. So what's the difference of you just staying at home, putting on your mask, and coming here, still putting on your mask? Yeah, so that is something that you want to get away from, putting on the mask, sanitizing and all that. So this goes back to that when they come, when they go here, they must be very assured that they don't need to worry about all of that. They're well taken care of. So in actual fact, we must have a team of people, yeah, sanitizing here and there, Tourists are like that. And then it goes back to that gadgets. Yeah, many tourists I've seen here, especially here in Sarawak, they don't even carry a handphone. They leave it behind. Yeah, especially those with families. They're here for 2 weeks. They will only turn on their phones only at night just to say hello to those back home. After that, it's off. So I mean, virtual tours have been around. Yeah, I mean all this, but to me, guys over here, to us, it's not a challenge. Yeah, it actually helps us in our work. In our work, but yeah, especially in Malaysia now, everywhere you go, you must scan. Yeah, my Sejahtera. Sejahtera means well-being, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to scan everywhere you want to go, your well-being. Yeah, on the bus, in anything. So possibly, yeah, we might need to reduce on that. A lot of people are not comfortable, especially when they are going on holidays. They want to forget all that. They want to be happy. They want to have fun. They want to learn. Yeah, and then go back with a positive experience.
Okay, thank you so much.
Can I have 1 minute?
Sure. Dr.
In my point of view, you know, talking about the government policy and to reopen the tourism, you know, the thing is, so once we reopen the country, is involved with different stakeholders, different government sector. You know, we have Ministry of Public Health, we have Ministry of Foreign Affairs or something like this. So what we have to achieve the goal means everybody have to look at the ultimate goal. You know, not immediate goal, because if everybody look at the immediate goal, you know, we cannot achieve our goal. So through this, you know, I don't think that it will be successful from the government sector alone, but we need to call collaboration from different stakeholders, including the community, including the private sector. You know, they have to join hand, they have to join the tourism participation, which means they have to plan together. Once they share the idea in planning, you know, so when we bring the planning to go for implementation, you know, everybody will get involved freely, you know, and they're happy. But what I concern is everybody have to look at the same goal. Otherwise, it won't be successful in my point of view.
I really do agree with you, Dr. Paitun. Stakeholders' opinion is important actually in drafting the policies. So government should actually invite or have them, you know, to say and state whatever that is necessary. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Paitun. All right. I'm going to open this question to everyone actually. This question is about, you know, once the border is open, we all are vaccinated. 70% of our population are vaccinated. It seems that our Sandmark, was it that was a project in Thailand, isn't it? In Phuket, the project in Phuket. If you were to put that
Phuket Sandbox.
Sandbox, yes, we have put Sandbox in. This is just an example. You know, would tour guide go back to tour guiding? Can we have let's say Mr. Latif from Malaysia, if you can respond to that. Mr. Latif? I think he's not there. Mr. Sam, if you can respond to that?
Yes, sure. Okay. Would tour guide back to the tour guiding, you asked, right? Okay. Most of the tour guide who were already in tour guiding business for more than 10 years, most of them actually came from different background. They are from different industries. Some of them are architects, some engineer, some we even have a doctor and magistrate became a tour guide. Okay, but due to the pandemic now, most of them give up tour guiding job and they went back to their previous field. So we're not sure are they coming back or not.
I think it would be
Yes,
different, you know, if
Yes.
you say that tour guide is a secondary income contributor for a person.
Those were the one group who were already from the different field. But 10 years until now, we have a lot of youngsters who came into the industry. So these are the people will take the challenge with new way of guiding, with the adaptations of technologies and digital, all these. But according to the world expert from World Tourism Travel and Tour Council, they said we can't draft up any policy or predict anything yet until end of this year. Because nobody have the answer yet.
Yes, we are just you know, we just want to see basically would tour guides come back to being a tour guide once the border is up and we are able to resume tourism again.
90% of tour guides are doing this because of passion, not because of money. Of course, money is important, but most of us are in this industry because of our love of in tourism and the passion.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Mr. Sam. Mr. Chihan, would you like to add to that?
Yes, of course. In Turkey, our government launched a certification program. Name is Safe Tourism Certification Program for the sector. Not only the accommodation facilities, also many organizations operating in the tourism and service sector, from shipyards, ports, to food and beverage facilities, from culture and art activity centers to the tour transfer vehicles, also within the scope of certification. Within the scope of the program, inspectors authorized by the government, food facilities, tour and transfer vehicles, congress, art facilities, mechanical lines, sea tourism, international tourism, all the hygiene, health inspections, and they look reports on these regularly sent an inspector, and application facilities service are provided accordance with the criteria. Also, we shouldn't forget this all tourism workers pre-tourist to vaccinated program. Also, some of the tour guys, some of the tourist guys who changed the sector after the pandemic will return to the sector again. But some of them will not return to the sector. We have seen the newcomers, the youngs of the tourist guys to professional experience serious economic difficulties. Some tourist guys have started to offer language courses, as I said. After the pandemic, every tourist guide can have 2 jobs, maybe. After the pandemic, every tourist guide can have 2 jobs, and the pandemic has shown us that the tourism industry always a risky one sector.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Mr. Sihan. I do agree with that. Mr. Komsan, any comment?
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, good. Thank you. It just cut off again. Let's go back to Phuket Sandbox. You know, it's a good news that we are going to open on the 1st of January. There are around 300 flights booked to come back to Phuket again. As I saw the news 2 days ago. The tour guide in Thailand, let's say tour guide in Phuket, it could be divided into two groups. Firstly, Phuket people themselves. So those who are the tour guide who lived in Phuket, I'm quite sure that all of them will be back. But let's say a lot of tour guides are not the Phuket residents. So now they are all returned home. So we don't know where their home are. They could be in the north of Thailand. That's about more than 1,000 kilometers. They came from the hill tribes, especially a Chinese-speaking guide. So we cannot tell that whether they are back. We don't know what they're doing at the moment. But for Phuket guide, I'm quite sure that they are back. This is the career since they start until now. Yes.
I see. Okay. Let me see. Mr. Bob, your skills are specialized.
Yes.
Okay. Would you come back?
Definitely. I'm going to be the first person that would come back. We've been waiting. We're doing little things like this, just to keep us going. And then when the industry comes back, yes, we will come back. We're like tour guides for life. Yeah. Yes, it will be difficult. We will have to adapt. There will be changes. Like I said earlier on, we might not operate, but once you specialize, you don't take that many, and you are taking people to places that not many other people will go.
True.
So yeah, again, it goes back to yes, there will be SOPs. There was once an SOP that says that you must walk 5 meters apart when you're walking in the jungle, and I told them, have you been cloud forest? If I'm gone 2 meters away from you, you'll be lost. Yeah, so I mean, yes, the government set up things, but they need to set up things and sit down with people who are actually in the industry, yeah, to see whether it really works or not. Yeah, and many of the tour guides in Sarawak, yes, they will come back. Yeah, maybe yeah, it's to what I know. So they're just waiting for that. So we'll see what happens next year.
Great, thank you, Mr. Bob. Yeah, we are coming to the end of our question already right now, and my last question actually.
Can I add something?
Oh yeah, sure, Dr. Lifty.
I think Sam is very right. It's very early to make some decision right now. We have to wait till the end of a year because we have experience in last year. The borders were open. We normalized life, but we moved back to problems. So there are two groups of guides I observe, of course, from Turkey and from the other countries. Some guides have secondary income, and some guides have no extra income. They do just guiding full job. So I think this pandemic was very interesting experience for us. We did learn a lot, and I'm not so positive to say guides will come back to job. I'm sure the guides will more experience. I have been doing this job for maybe 31 years.
Oh, wow.
So I observed different, stages, but this is the worst process in the guiding life. That's what I witnessed. That's definitely, I may say. So people suffered a lot, and guides realized the big risk in staying in this business. So that's why some got alternative job, and even they come back to business, I'm sure they will look for alternative, especially this negative experience is standing right up there as a barrier for new young guides. So they will think about the guides like me, or like most of the guides right here have experience. So that's why they have some environment, some network. So that's why you can reactivate the network. But for the young ones, it's very risky. So I'm very pessimistic to get the same job back, same amount of tourists, because as the other participants emphasized, so the number of the people in the group went down, and they are just going down, and also people worry about the safety of travel, the other reason. And also some people I know the experience is important, personal contact is important, but because of the smart technology, they keep traveling, but they stay in touch with the technology. They can use technology. It's not replacing people, but it's alternative. And so I'm sure, or I feel, not sure, because nobody is sure what's going to happen, but I feel in future less people will be a tour guide, and tour guiding business will be less attractive. And so that's going to be really a problem. Maybe in the other way, it's going to be good for the business, because only the ones who are very eager, very let's say, how to say, aggressive to the tour guide. Will stay in the business and they can have really good, big success. I think that's a very important point. I believe so. So we will see, but if we cannot get rid of this pandemic process in 2021, this year, and we can talk about other problems in future with the vaccination capacity and potential. It looks like it's going to be over, just potential. So we don't know. We will see at the end of summer, and I hope, I pray it will not come back, but different versions of virus move around, as you know. So that's why now we get different explanation from the authorities. So that's why, with my experience for years now, I believe the future of the guide will be a bit different than it used to be in the past. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lutfi. Yeah.
Can I share a little bit my idea? Just 30 seconds. My idea might be a bit extreme, but I don't want to upset the tourist guide in the conference. But anyway, after once we open the Phuket sandbox, I don't think that the career for the tourist guide is back, because the number of people who travel might be less, and then many of them will travel by themselves. They can contact the hotel directly. They can book everything by themselves, So what the tourist guide need to adjust, they have to adapt themselves in order to rejuvenate their career. The first one, I think they have to find the target market by themselves. I mean, not everybody will use a tourist guide. Only certain target group who need a tourist guide, something like the aging group, or disabled group, these people, they need a tourist guide. So you have to focus on this particular market instead, So the tour guide need to change the mindset, which means they have to find a new opportunity. For example, they have to upskill, reskill to be the travel influencer, travel blogger, or whatever. So work together in parallel or whatever. And I would like to cherish the tourist guide that we are unable to be everything for everyone. But we should be something for someone that people, they need us, they cannot stay without us, So I would like to cheer everybody up, to fight after the COVID, and hope that if you adjust, if you adapt yourself, you will have the space to stand out, So fighting for it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that is totally important there. I'm going to read some question actually from the floor. We are running out of time now. Question from Terengganu actually. How we should restore the tourism activity right after the pandemic? What is the first important step should be taken by tour guide and also by tour guide association? I'm opening this question to the floor, to the panels.
Okay, I'd like to answer that.
Yeah, please.
Okay, the most important for now, for every tour guide and the tour guide associations, is to share knowledge on health and safety. So every tour guide must improve themselves about COVID, about the virus, about the vaccines, and the safety protocols, everything, and the contingency plan. Because future tourists might be worried on the destinations they are going to visit. In case COVID outbreak happen in that particular place, what is the contingency plan? How are they going to be quarantined? Are they going to be locked down? So all these are very important for tour guide to understand better. And for this thing, I really encourage tour guides all to become a volunteer at vaccine center, so they will get a first-hand information.
Okay. Any add-ons to that? How we should restore tourism activity right after the pandemic? We can move to question number 2 from Yazis. He said, COVID-19 forces tour guides to go virtual. What are the level of acceptance tour guides on this game change? But I think we have insight on this just now. We had a discussion over pertaining to a virtual tour and also the need of not just virtual tour or technology or going digital or going through social media, but we also need to balance this up together with human touch. Any panels who would like to respond on that? COVID-19 forces tour guides to go virtual. What are the level of acceptance tour guides on this game change? He's asking about the level of acceptance on virtual tour. Mr. Sam, you want to say something about it?
Yeah, last year when COVID first started, since March and April, there is an organization in Malaysia under Malaysia Productivity Nexus. They came up with a program called My VXP or Malaysia Virtual Experience. So a lot of tour guides, they share their experience virtually. So it really helped them to generate some income. So people do pay to watch their contents, all this, but it's very limited since the knowledge and understanding in digital. Not every tour guide understands this. That's why we need to come up with a new training program and modules. And it must be run by the tour guide associations and the institute.
Thank you. Another question comes and say, how do we deal with the situation if we open our country for tourism, but our local society are still not confident in accepting them and refuse to accept the arrival of tourists if we are doing rural tourism, homestay, and so on? Dr. Paitun, would you like to respond to that?
How to, right?
The question says,
actually,
how do we deal?
Yes, with the local people, right?
Yes, yes. How do we
actually, in Thailand, luckily that we start from Phuket, you know, because Phuket, the whole province, they rely on tourism in particular. I mean, 80%, more than 80% of the people rely on tourism. So it is very easy to use Phuket as a prototype to do this, you know. But first, you know, if you like to balance between people who get involved in tourism and people who are not, you know, to make everybody being together in the same, yeah, it is very, very challenging for the next destination. But in my point of view, the first province, now they have to start from the major tourist destination first, because most of people, they rely on tourism. And then second, it is you have to set the manual, making sure that balance between economic and social benefit, you know, because if you do it without well planned, you know, sometimes it might affect badly the local residents, so it will affect other careers. So we have to do both, balance both, you know. But as you know, that Phuket sandbox, you know, they start from Phuket and everybody in Phuket, you know, they agree to open, so it is easy. Secondly, in Phuket, it is very easy to control because it is the island, you know, so there are only two ways to come to Phuket, so it is easy to control people in and out, you know, unlike other provinces, you know.
Yeah, I think that would be a good answer for that, actually. Another one, this is directed to for Turkey and Thailand panel, it says here. Since vaccination is one way to mitigate the risk of infection of COVID-19, I would like to know how is the progress of vaccination currently in Thailand and Turkey? What is the pace now? This is from Malaysia. The question comes from Malaysia, and he would like to know what is the progress of vaccination currently in Thailand and Turkey. Do you have any idea, Dr. Paitun?
In Thailand, you know, it is a big issue right now, you know. The only Phuket, it is now better comparing to other provinces, you know, but we hope that we keep the finger crossed that the vaccine will be coming on time, because, you know, it has been postponed many times. And then, as you know, that is one of the major factors affecting to reopen the country. So if the vaccine comes late, you know, it will It is not only for tourism, you know, it is for other business in general, because, you know, it might affect other business in Thailand. So we hope that the vaccine will be distributed on time, you know, and then every business now can come back.
I think we all are facing the same problem, I guess. What about Turkey? Dr. Lutfi. Lutfi, sorry.
Okay.
Dr. Lutfi. Can you respond to that?
Sure. Actually, vaccination, it started a little bit, you know, problem in Turkey because we started with the Chinese Sinovac. That was the only option, only supply. And then later on, we were in short of supply, and then we got the BioNTech supply. And now we are very good, I may say. I just checked the ratio before we, you know, start the panel. Nearly 18% of population. We are 85 million, by the way, 85 million. So 18% of population got 2 doses, and roughly 17% had only 1 dose. This week and last week, we vaccinated over 1.5 million people daily. This is very good, you know, speed. And now we just inject a BioNTech vaccine, and so the Chinese is coming. I think they got the supply, so I think they opened the system for the Chinese one. But even we had problem in supply, as I mentioned before, and the other participants from Turkey emphasized that one. And we had a project of safe tourism in Turkey. All the workers, employed people in tourism, guides, you know, waiters, receptionists, whatever, employed in tourism were vaccinated. So, and also we have a safe tourism certificate for the tourism companies. So in one way, that's okay. We created, you know, safe tourism ambience, but in Thailand, I think in one destination, they paid attention, they applied something, but so it's not so safe. So we have to increase the ratio in the population. At the end of July, we plan to, you know, finish about 60% of population.
I see.
Recently, we invented our vaccine, and now I think in 2 months we will use our own vaccine. That's good news for the, you know, country.
And that's a short period of time, doctor. 2 months. Increase of the service 60%.
Additional Turkish one, yeah.
Okay, I have another question here. It says, thank you so much, Dr. Lutfi. Relating to the arguments between, this is for, it says here directly to Turkey and Thailand panels, relating to the arguments between pro-vaccine and anti-vaccine that happening in every part of the world, what is the Tourist Guide Association policy in your respective country? Are vaccines compulsory for tourist guides? And how the acceptance of these tourist guides regarding the vaccination process? Okay. That was a question. There are 2 questions here, actually. The acceptance of what is the Tourist Guide Association policy in your respective country?
Yeah, in Thailand, you know, if you would like to reopen tourism, you know, we have to apply CHA Plus. Plus mean that the people who work in the organization in that business sector, they should be vaccinated. You see, especially the frontline staff and tourist guide is the frontline staff who contact directly to the tourist. So they are compulsory to be fully vaccinated. Otherwise, they cannot work, you know.
Definitely.
Regarding to CHA Plus, we call CHA Plus, okay.
Thank you. It is made compulsory. I think it has to be compulsory for the frontliners, especially tour guides, to be vaccinated. What about Dr. Sinan? Would you like to respond to that? Or Dr. Lutfi?
Yeah, sure.
Guide Association.
that's understandable. Sorry, Sinan. You can answer. Sinan?
Yes?
I think my internet is non-suitable, so
I can't hear him now.
Okay, now I can complete. That's, I think, normal. I think some people neglect the importance of tourism. Right now, many people lost money, and the economical aspect of tourism is very important. So that's why it's understandable. And of course, on one side there is unfair application. On the other side, also you have to look at the needs of the country. So it's not easy decision. So it's difficult to say something about this sort of position. So as Python mentioned before, some others, so government think about globally, so it's not easy to focus on one thing. So we have to survive. Now we are complaining about how we suffer, but if the system suffers, we are part of the system, how we can survive. So that's why sometimes we have to understand the others, not just instead of from our perspective, so we can just look at the other sides. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lutfi. I have been, told that we are actually coming to the end of our forum this afternoon. It's already past our time, and I'm just interested, to say that whatever it is, we have to adapt to change, because after this, things are not going to be the same anymore. And thank you so much to our panels for your insights and also willingness to share your experience and your expertise and your thoughts with us today. Yeah? And I believe that we gain a lot of knowledge and also knowledge, I think, in this particular forum. Lesson learned, which I can say here, is that never take things for granted, I think. State of preparedness to face the challenge that is coming ahead should be at all levels. And it should be at the level of government, it should be at the level of corporate, it should be at the level of community and also individual. With that, I would like to leave a last note. Like any other endurance sports, no matter how far the journey is, no matter how difficult the obstacles are, and no matter how long it takes, definitely it will come to the end. And we are praying hard that it will come to the end, and come December, we can actually go out and enjoy ourselves and travel again and visit again and enjoy meeting people again. However, to most of us, I think this is truly an agony, and to us, the matter is actually when. So with that, I thank you very much for your attention and also for everything. Thank you.
Are we taking group picture?
Hey you. We know it's been tough. Missing how everything was pre-MCO. We feel you. But we truly believe all of us needed some time apart to heal. Hey, we are home, resting, at peace and safe. Shout out to our frontliners who are doing their best to keep us safe. Remember our journeys together? Beautiful memories, aren't they? The romantic strolls on beaches as the sun sets over the horizon. Exploring the lush green forest for its elusive wildlife. Diving deep into the sea, opening your eyes to the vibrant colors of marine life. Visiting our villages and spending time with our families. Standing atop the peak of my majestic mountain after conquering the climb of your life. Staying up late at night watching the universe pass us by. And in those moments, everything felt perfect. But it won't be the last memories we make together. We'll experience even greater adventures soon. But for now, let's use this time apart to rest and heal. Be patient. We'll meet again.
Yes, we will remain patient until time comes. Thank you, Madam Siti Hajar and Dr. Anderson for successfully moderating the session. It is indeed engaging and dynamic. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our online forum today. I hope you gain lots of information from it. On behalf of the entire committee members of the International Online Tour Guide Forum, we would like to thank all panels for sharing your insightful opinions and experiences this forum. We truly appreciate it. We will have a photo session before we display the QR code for attendance and e-certifications. So kindly turn on your camera and smile so that we can have memorable photos. Okay, ready? Please switch on your camera. All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next. 1, 2, 3. Another one. 1, 2, 3. Right, this one, freestyle. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you everyone. To all attendees, don't forget to scan the QR code shown on the screen and complete the attendance form. There is also an attendance link provided in the chat box. An e-certification will be provided as a token of appreciation for participating in the forum today. It was a pleasure to host this forum, and I wish all a pleasant day. Thanks again for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Goodbye, stay healthy, and stay safe.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you to all panels.
Thank you ค่ะอาจารย์ตู่ Thank you
ขอบ
พี่เจ
คุณ
อ
มาก
รี่
อาจารย์แอน
ขอบคุณมากเลยค่ะ
Everyone.
Very
ค่ะ see you
insightful Dr. Com
Good
Dr.
afternoon. Good
พี่เจอ
afternoon.
สวัส
รี่
ดีค่ะอาจารย์คมสวัสดีค่ะพี่เจอรี่อาจารย์แอนแล้วก็ everyone so
We are
thank
in
you
Thailand but we never see each other either so
สวัสดีครับ
we see each other here Thank
พี่
you
เจอ
ค่ะ
รี่เขาหลุดบ่อยอ่ะเขาไม่
ใช่
Okay, bye-bye.
อินเทอร์เน็ต
Bye-bye. Thank
Thank you
you very
all
much for everything.
Yeah I think
bye bye take care
hopefully we can get a good report and then we will let all our audience know about our session today
all right
Thank you for organizer
so thank you
been
bye
pleasure to listen to that
all right see you next time bye
bye bye
Thank you.
Andy open your camera
Hello.
Thank you, everyone.
You are there. You see, I'm not look sleepy tonight, okay?
Are you not?
I'm not look sleepy today.
I think it's not yet night time. I think it's
Maybe because of the vaccination.
Yeah.
You got a positive energy.
That is my best part. I love it. Give me this job.
How do you feel? Any reaction? Do you get any reaction? And do you have any problem after? Do you have any problem after second dose? Good.
Oh, I think I have less. The first dose was very headache and a little bit of nauseous, but my second dose is no problem. Yeah, but
Sinovac?
Yeah, Sinovac. But I think maybe another 2 months I go for Moderna or something. Yeah.
I think Sinovac is, I don't want to say better, but Sinovac causes less influence, less problem than BioNTech or Moderna.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, I think it's I heard that in Singapore they choose to have